Hello, and welcome to the Mild and Lazy Guys podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Matt.
And I'm Andrew.
And on today's episode, we have a very special guest in-house, and I'll introduce him in a minute. We're back with our usual bag of tricks. We got junk mail, questionable behavior from the internet. On this week's Mount Rushmore, we are going to talk about our favorite Texas Rangers of all time. Of course, we've got Pick Your Poison. We are reviewing the Disney classic Angels in the Outfield, and we'll talk a little sports, and we'll finish up with what are we watching and what are we listening to. Before we get started, please go rate and review us on iTunes and Apple Podcasts if you haven't already. That helps us out a ton. Follow us on Spotify, and you can follow us on Instagram at Mild and Lazy is our Instagram handle, so go and follow us there. There is a merch link in the Instagram bio, so if you want to get, a shirt, pair of socks, fanny pack, anything like that, you can go on there and get you fixed up. So yeah, that's it with the opening. What have you been up to?
Me? Well, as you know, we've been off for a while. We were supposed to go to Lake Murray, and there was this whole thing where Claire wasn't feeling good. Lady she works with at the yoga studio told her she had COVID, so she should get tested. Claire went and got tested. It was a negative, but they're like, well, let's take a more thorough test. And this was like on a Monday. So she gets tested on Monday, and she was supposed to get the results back on like a Thursday. She calls, nothing. She calls Friday, nothing. And then Sunday, we're getting ready to leave, and she wants to go get antibiotics because she thinks she has a sinus headache. And when she's there, that's when they say, oh, by the way, we got your test in Friday, and it's positive. So that sucks. So we were packing up ready to leave. This was, 2 weeks ago, getting ready to leave, and we had to call and tell my parents we can't go with them. We're, Claire's sick. Like, this is the reasoning she's been sick. But I never got sick. Ellie never got sick. We ended up just staying at home. Parents were cool enough to give us our money back. Then luckily my transmission went out on my truck that same week, so it's been hectic week. But we had a staycation. We just watched a whole bunch of Big Brother and ate, junk food and got fat and sassy.
Yep.
And then today we found out what we're having. We had a little gender reveal party, and it was as bad as it sounds. I hated it, man. We had to sit in front of a cake like a bunch of idiots while 7 cameras were pointed at us while we simultaneously cut this cake. And then I just go, oh, it's blue, it's a boy. And I was like, that was it. That was all we were here for.
I was team boy all the way.
Yeah, I'm team boy. 10 fingers and 10 toes and all that.
Absolutely.
But so now we were kind of set. I think we were gonna have a girl. So we had all these names. So now we had to pivot, and they're just throwing out terrible names. My mother-in-law wants to name it Cornelius.
Oh,
which I think she's joking, but I was like, she pushed that joke a lot. You sound very serious. It's not going to be Cornelius Kahn. That sounds terrible. So if anyone has any suggestions, I think it has to be a 2-syllable name because our last name is 1 syllable.
Uh-huh.
So it's it's got to sound, it's got to flow.
Well,
I'm not naming him Matthew. Not naming my dad wants to be Billy Jr. It's not going to be Billy Jr. Not going to name a kid BJ. And I told Zach, we're having a boy, goes, oh, Zach said the same joke. Whoa, Zach's a great name.
So what's funny is mine wasn't a joke, though. I was serious.
Well, to me, it was
and you hurt me when you just laughed it off.
I just said, that's a great name when we get a new cat. I'll keep that in mind. So it's a roller coaster, but it all worked out. I told Claire, she's dreading the fact that I'm, serious about getting a van. Because I need something for work. That's what I need. And I need something that I can use for work. And vans are perfect. And I was like, getting another kid? I think I need a van. And I think I beat her down. I haven't beaten her down. And I've convinced her enough about it that I think she's going to be just... Because I can get it, and then eventually I'll get a work vehicle, and then I can sell that, and I can get a practical car like you guys have.
Yeah.
So I just don't want a truck. I'm not a truck guy. Never have been.
Okay.
I'm more of a van guy.
Are you, though? You've never had a van?
Not yet.
Do you want to be like Ryan?
I do, actually, man. I was already telling her, we can take vacations. We can load up everything. We can take it all at once. It's I can drive Matt to the draft house this year. I don't have to bum a ride. I was like, it's going to be amazing. So you might see me roll up. I told her I'd put those plastic spinners on there. So when I pull up to a mailbox and I stop, my rims just keep spinning and I take off again. She didn't like that joke.
All right. Well, before we get to me and what I've been up to, let me introduce our guest today. He is a friend. He is a podcast super fan. He is a food blogger. He's a Red Oak Hawk. He's a alumni. Food blogger now, food reviewer.
Yeah.
Mr. Brady Sapp.
What's going on?
Welcome, man.
Brady
Thanks
was
for
trying
coming
to introduce himself.
I mean, I was trying to introduce myself. And
Okay,
then
go
just
ahead.
Like, yeah,
Go ahead.
hitting the soundboard all over the place.
Thanks for coming in, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. A long-time listener, first-time caller. So I'll hang up and listen. Yeah.
All right, that was Brady. Goodbye.
That was
See
Brady.
you guys.
Back to me. No,
Click,
but
clack, click, clack.
no, man, we're excited to have you in. We're excited to have another guest in.
Technically the third, but we'll never hear the first one.
No, we'll never hear
Jacob.
that first one.
Never get to hear it. God, that was such a good episode.
There's
too,
a
man.
lost episode where
We were hammered, drunk,
at
I
a
think you told me about that,
fantasy
yeah.
football poker night, and
got wild.
it went off the rails.
We talked
pretty quick.
aliens for hours, and then it was like 4 a.m, and Matt's like, "I got 3%." And it's 4 a.m. He's like, we can't record it any longer.
I had sobered up.
I went, okay,
during
let's
that
go to
whole
bed.
Conversation,
I just remember slamming pizza crust into queso and just
It was
having
one of those
deep
kind of nights,
conversations where I'm
dude.
like talking about like everything that's in the universe.
So when you said on the text that you were coming back from a gender reveal, I thought it was like somebody else's. I didn't
Oh,
know.
no, we're
I didn't
having
put
a
two and two
child.
together. I was like, I mean, I knew that y'all were having a child, but I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like they're coming from a gender reveal.
Yep.
So.
Unfortunately, my family like forced it upon us because we went Friday. I took off. We went Friday, and they were like, I was like, I had to close my own eyes at my, my wife's sonogram because we couldn't find out. And then my sister-in-law knows a lady who makes cake, so we put it in an envelope, gave it to her, and sent it off. It was really cool looking cake, though. It looked really cool.
Was it a good cake?
It actually tasted good.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
It was weird though. It looked like an Abe Lincoln top hat. It was like circular and like I don't know what is that like almost 10 inches tall.
Yeah,
So we just had to cut into it, and then you could see the blue.
that's cool, man. I'm excited. You'll have a lot of fun with the little boy.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Landry was bummed. He was team girl.
So was Ellie. She
Yeah.
really wanted a sister.
Yeah.
So I had to disappoint her. I do that a lot with people.
All right. Yeah. We've been off a while, so a lot's gone down. I forgot that I had insurance because I started a new job back in January. I've never had health insurance. I'm used to not going to the doctor.
Yeah.
I'm used to just ibuprofen, maybe some emergency, sleep it off. But I've been getting really bad sleep, and especially here lately. But I can't remember the last time I fell asleep and just woke up refreshed, Yeah. And Lauren was like, "You have insurance. You can go to the doctor." I was like, "You know what? I do have I should do that." And she's like, "Yeah, you should do that." So I ended up going to the sleep doctor, and they asked me all these questions, and they decided that they were going to give me a home sleep test to go take home and do. So you have this little black box that sits across your chest. You have a little O2 sensor on your finger, and they give you a little, I don't know.
Like a nose thing?
Yeah.
Shove it up your nose.
Yeah, the little auction thing.
Yeah.
So I do that. I return it, and they download the results, and they call me. And they're like, "Yeah, you stopped breathing an average of 38 times an hour. You have severe sleep apnea."
Jeez.
Yeah. So
Has Lauren ever said in the middle of the night you
yeah, well, yeah. She's like, you snore, like
Yeah.
you're peeling paint off the wall. Like yeah, I snore, yeah. And I'm a big dude, and so when I went in for the initial appointment, they had, take your blood pressure and your weight. And when I stepped on the scale, I saw a number that was not cool with me.
Yeah.
It was like 285, and I'm like, you know what? It's time to do something. So I went home after work that day, threw away all the junk food, went to the grocery store, bought all, a whole new fridge full of groceries. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to change. So for the last 10 days or so, I've been eating clean, and I got a gym membership. I'm going to the gym. So yeah, whole new me coming. I weighed in today. I've lost 7 pounds in a week.
Nice.
man.
Nice.
So yeah,
I want to take little walks around the neighborhood with you.
I'm down, man.
That's what we need to do. So we
down.
can talk about all this, and we live so close to each other.
Yeah, no,
that sleep apnea, man, it's no joke. I had a former a guy that I used to work with. He had it, and we would have to share hotel rooms on travel setups. And yeah, it'd be 3 o'clock in the morning, and it would sound like somebody was choking him. It's no joke, man.
Yeah, no.
It was wild.
No, and they were, going over the results and, what it does to your organs, like your heart and everything else.
Yeah, it's
I'm
not
like,
good for anything.
No.
Not good for
so-
Lauren either. I'm sure she's sleeping better now.
Oh, I'm sure. So yeah, I got a follow-up appointment, and then I've got to go in and do a in-house sleep study where they kind of calibrate your machine and get the levels right so you stop, snoring and open up your airways to allow
That's
you to
good
breathe.
though,
So
But you'll spend the night over there.
yeah,
You'll stay.
it's
there.
one night. Yeah, I think I go in at 9:30 and they wake me up at 5 in the morning and then send me on my way. So,
That'd be wild.
but yeah, going back to the gym because I literally haven't done anything in a decade.
Yeah.
And the first couple days are really demoralizing because like I get on the treadmill and I look down, I'm like, dude, I've had to ran for like 30 minutes. It's like 7. Yeah. And I'm like, holy crap. But it's getting better, and I am starting to get that endorphin kick. Like after I'm done, like I do feel better, and I can just tell just from a week from cutting sodas, and I had a cheat day on Thursday when we watched I felt like
even that though wasn't that bad.
No. But I
like
still
meat and cheese and some nuts and stuff.
Yeah, I still felt guilty though. Like the next day, I was like, I gotta go twice. I gotta go to the gym twice to work it off. But no. So I've been in the gym, and so a lot of life changes over here.
Well, so I've just been looking forward to Firehouse Subs opening.
Dude,
as you're cutting weight, I'm like salivating.
Do we have a date on that? Like
it was supposed to be like last Friday, but
so me and Milligan went over there.
Yeah.
They weren't open. It was like one of the bigger disappointments in my life.
We drove by today, and my wife was like, "When is that place opening?"
Mm-hmm. I can't get an answer. They don't have a phone number.
He's looking for a number.
Dude, I've looked for a number.
I've looked for emails.
I go in corporate. And I peep in. I
called their manager, their assistant manager. I looked up their franchise owner on LinkedIn. I can't find anybody.
No, I don't know. It's got to be within the month, though.
Yeah,
I figured because they're getting close. They're getting close. Yeah. But that's going to be a cheat meal for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so with that out of the way, let's get into the junk mail segment. And I've got the first story, and the headline reads, Woman sues McDonald's after complaining that a cheeseburger advertisement was so irresistible it caused her to break her fast during Lent. A woman from Omsk, Russia, is reportedly suing McDonald's over an advert featuring cheeseburgers and chicken nuggets, which she said caused her to break her fast during Lent. Ksenia, and this is all in Russia, so I'm going to butcher these names. Ksenia Ovichkovna, a Orthodox Christian, said she was trying to stay away from meat and other animal products during the 6-week period leading up to Easter in 2019. The case was first reported by Russian state media and picked up by Western outlets, including Fox News, which wrote that she abstained from eating meat for a month, and when the enticing McDonald's advert made her give in, according to the lawsuit. Quote, when I saw an advertising banner, I could not help myself. I visited McDonald's and bought a cheeseburger, she reportedly said in her statement. Fox News reported that Ovnichikov accused the fast food chain of breaking consumer protection law and insulting her religious feelings. Nice. She is suing McDonald's for $14 or 1,000 rubles as compensation for sustained moral damage. As somebody who's cutting weight myself and on a diet, you just gotta be mentally stronger than that.
You just said when Firehouse Subs opened, you're going there, and now you're criticizing this lady. Yeah. You go, that's definitely a cheat day, and now for her, you gotta be mentally strong.
I am mentally strong. You know how many fast food places I pass every day?
Yeah. Hey, what you gotta do is pick your poison.
Kudos to McDonald's, though. I mean, that's a marketing win.
That's a win-win, yeah. Exactly, that's what I was thinking.
We'll pay the 1,000 rubles and just, sell all these other Big Macs.
I would give her 2,000 rubles to tell her story all around. Where was she from? Like Plutska or something?
Omsk, Russia.
That was close. Yeah. I'd be like, yeah, that's a win-win because our food is so good. You're willing to break your religious fasting. You're willing to dish your beliefs just to get a burger. That's great.
Let's question her religion for a little bit because if that's what's causing you to break your religion is a McDonald's cheeseburger.
You don't have a big
Are you really like that?
Are you really? Yeah.
You're not that committed.
You're probably not the pastor.
She was looking for an excuse to get that burger. And then she just saw a commercial and was like, all right, I've had enough.
Look, McDonald's is out there burning people with coffee and all kinds of stuff.
That's no joke, man. That poor lady. I heard.
Did you?
She got 3rd-degree burns and had to have skin grafts.
Yeah.
That was boiling hot. She got so much shit for that. That poor old lady. I listened to a podcast about that a year ago. I felt so bad for her.
So did I. All right, next story. The headline reads, German modern pentathlon coach thrown out of the Olympics for punching horse. A German modern pentathlon coach has been thrown out of the Tokyo Olympics for punching a horse during competition. Kim Reisner was trying to assist German athlete Annika Schlew as she battled to control Saint Boy ahead of her show jumping round in the women's event on Friday. Athletes are only given 20 minutes to bond with an unfamiliar horse before their round, and Schlew, who had been leading the field, was in tears as she came across into the ring. The International Modern Pentathlon Union said it reviewed footage showing Reisner appearing to strike the horse with her fist and, quote, her actions were deemed to be in violation of the rules. She was also heard calling to Schlew to whip the horse harder, which I thought that's what you did with horses. You
I mean, I've seen Western movies, and that's all they do is with those poor cows.
I mean, I'm going to be honest though. I got no idea what's going on in a pentathlon. Like,
It's like a fancy. Is that a horse? Is it like a dog show for horses where they have like a course?
I thought the pentathlon was where you like ran and swam and
that's a
like
triathlon.
Right, but so that's a couple more tries.
So you have to swim with your horse.
Yeah, you have to. All right, let me look up what's in a pentathlon. Modern.
And what I don't
pentathlon.
get is they have 20 minutes to bond. Like, you don't like bring your own horse or something?
I guess it's just like
No.
Like the horse had to qualify and you had to qualify and they
there's
put
just
you
like
together?
20 standard horses, so you don't have like doped up
That's
horses.
true.
I guess
Yeah,
we
we
are
might just have like
Yeah.
because we're talking. Yeah, the Russian Olympic Committee. Coming over here.
It did say that that horse had been difficult for
He's a bad
another participant. I think that one was Russia. Yeah, Saint Boy had already refused to jump for another rider, Russian competitor Gulaz. I'm not even going to attempt that one.
Nope.
Earlier in the competition, and the German Modern Pentathlon Union said he had been quote unquote traumatized by the previous rider, even before Schlew's round. So sounds like he just wasn't. Sounds like Saint Boy was just not about it.
Sounds like the horse is kind of the problem.
He was the problem.
Saint Bad Boy more.
Oh,
like
there it is. Saint Bad Boy.
So,
Yeah, and I saw the video, and it was like when it says punch a horse, I thought it was like a right hook, like Schwarzenegger had on that reindeer from Jingle All the Way. It was kind of like you're spanking the horse on the butt.
you mean like a
Like he was a
Philadelphia
bad boy.
Eagles fan during a Super Bowl?
Yeah,
Super
something like
Bowl
that.
parade.
Yeah.
And then she, looked like she didn't eat it, but
So
how about for punishment? She just has to eat it, but she can stay in the competition.
like,
Why don't we think
eat the
outside
horse?
the boxes? Eat the horse shit. No one's gonna eat a horse, man.
People eat horses.
People eat
in
horses all
France.
the time.
Yeah.
Okay, y'all really defended that stance. I said no one should eat a horse. People eat horses all the time. Actually,
Eating horses is not out there. All right, so
Yeah, if you're
modern
like on the Donner family, but
a
it's not
modern
my first
pentathlon
choice.
is fencing, swimming, riding, shooting,
right.
and running.
Yeah.
It's a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
That's just
pretty
like a
cool.
wide range of like all kind of events.
They're all pretty cool events, though.
Yeah. So
That shooting's pretty legit. I've seen him do that. That's
Yeah.
wild.
Do you have to shoot all horseback like riding? 'Cause that'd be
No, I
pretty
don't
cool.
think so. I think
Oh, man.
it's like these like weird air rifles that have like all this. It doesn't look like a Red
No.
Ryder BB gun for sure.
So the last event is called a laser run. It's a
awesome.
It's a combination
Jesus,
of running
man.
and shooting events. Each competitor runs 4 800-meter laps, each preceded by hitting 5 targets with a pistol. In each of the 4 rounds of firing, athletes have to successfully shoot the 5 targets, loading the laser gun after each shot. They resume running once the 5 successful hits or the maximum shooting time of 50 seconds has expired. Misses are not penalized.
Also, it takes place in a Dave and Buster's. So.
To run in.
This is the greatest sport that I haven't been watching.
Avoid the mozzarella sticks. Yeah, so in case you didn't,
Well, in 4 more years, I'm watching that.
I thought you were saying 4 more years, you'll see me there.
I got 4 years to get ready. Who knows?
Give me Saint Boy, see what happens.
All right, so that was the junk mail segment. So with that, let's move on to questionable behavior from the internet. And this is a segment where I read a scenario from the internet and we determine whether they're in the wrong, whether they're the asshole, or whether they're totally justified. So this one reads, am I the asshole for being upset that my gay roommates bring me to gay bars every weekend?
I mean,
If it walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck. I mean, anyway, I, 23 female, both of my roommates are 23-year-old males. We have been living together for over a month. We are all great friends. This is where my question comes in because I really don't know who is in the right or wrong here. I'm a straight woman. My roommates are both gay men. I know no one here, so basically all the people I associate with are gay men. Here's where the problem lies. Every week we go to gay bars. I love them. They're incredibly fun. However, I have no chance of meeting men there. Tonight we went to a straight bar, one of maybe 2 we have been since I moved out here, and they wanted to leave super early before it even started getting fun. I just feel incredibly overlooked by them. I feel like I am always very supportive of going to places where they can meet people, but as soon as we go somewhere where I can meet people, my feelings are overlooked. I love them. I just feel like my wants and needs are overlooked. I talked to one of my roommates tonight, and he was so upset. And he was upset that I was upset, but understood what I was saying. It still felt like he did not. He made the whole argument that him and my roommate have lived together their whole lives going to straight bars, and this is the first time they can openly go to gay bars, which I understand. I have no problem going to gay bars. The majority of the time, I just wish they would be supportive and more enthusiastic about going to straight bars on the rare occasion that we do. So, am I the asshole for being upset that my roommates rarely want to go to straight bars when I'm going to gay bars and supporting them the majority of the time?
I mean, I think this isn't, it's not 1984 anymore, right? Like, you can meet people other than going to a bar, you know? Like, you got so many of these dating apps, like, that's the biggest.
And you don't have to go with them everywhere. She can invite another friend and say, let them two go to their bar, and you invite your friend, and you go to the bar you want to go to. It makes it seem like she has to go with them wherever.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking is like, I mean, y'all can work out a compromise where like maybe you go.
This week we go to the gay bar.
This week,
we go to the
next
straight
week
bar.
you switch out, or you could say, okay, well, I'm going to go with so and so to this other place.
And
it seems like a very easy solution.
It seems like they're both 23, or they're all 23 here. Seems like they're just kind of immature. They don't know how to handle this kind of situation. But it sounds like she did try to talk. She did try to talk to the one roommate and say, "Hey, here's how I'm feeling."
Yeah.
Sounds like he just got upset that she was upset, like she had a problem. But you're right. There are other avenues.
Yeah.
Dating apps. Go to a library. I mean, most of the time.
Yeah, that's where you find all the studs. Go to the library.
I'm so glad you're married, dude, because you, man, looking for it.
I was gonna
go
say,
to a video rental store, get you a good rom-com, and pick some.
I was gonna continue places you could go, and most people don't pull their significant others out of bars. I'm lucky I did, but she was my bartender.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
Yeah, but my success rate at bars previously was not.
I'm
good.
betting 0 because I was
not
started
good.
dating really
Success
young.
rate at libraries was through the roof.
Through the
Man,
roof.
well, all the freaks are out there.
Get them some Walt Whitman, and they go to
Panties
town,
drop.
dude.
Panty dropper. Walt Whitman's a panty dropper.
But yeah, it seems like, and she did say that she doesn't really know anybody, and her roommates are.
Did they say where they are? It seems like they're in a big city or something too.
It doesn't say where they are, but it does.
Seems like a major.
It does say like, yeah. It seems like they would be if they have gay bars. Like, it's got to be in a bigger city.
It's not some rural.
It's not
southern
here.
town.
Yeah, it's
Right.
not here.
That's what I figured. So maybe she's just like feels more comfortable going out with them.
Maybe she needs to fly solo.
I don't know. If I was a 23-year-old woman, I'm not going out to bar solo.
Yeah, that's true. Definitely
Ain't
not
nobody.
doing that.
No, I wouldn't want my daughter going out to a bar solo when she's 23.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, it sounds like y'all just need to talk, or you need to get some new friends. I don't know what to tell you. Or
I think they could fix that.
Yeah, very easily.
And when they listen to this, they'll understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll never hear this. Okay.
We weigh in all these people's lives. They'll never hear
No,
this.
they'll never. I wish we had more fan interaction, so that way they would actually get the feedback.
Dude, we like beg for fan interaction. I'm always like, so did anybody like say anything? And Matt's like, no.
No.
No, not even your mom like commented this week. It's like,
Yeah. Usually we get a comment from your mom like, "Hey, that's my boy," or "That Andrew sure seems sweet or good looking."
she's my number one fan, dude.
She is, man.
Oh, God bless
She's like
her.
making up new email addresses.
She's like the Kevin Durant like burner account. Appreciate you, Mom.
So let's move on to Mount Rushmore. And our Mount Rushmore segment this week is our favorite Texas Rangers of all time. Brady being the guest, we're going to let Brady go first. We're going to let him give his first, and we're just going to go around the table.
Yeah, so I feel like I'm going to steal this one off of everybody, so I'm going to go ahead and say it first. I mean, you got to put Pudge number one for me. I mean, to do what he's doing as a catcher, or to do what he did as a catcher, I mean, that was just unheard of. I mean, I don't have averages off my head.
I got you on it real quick.
No, I'll let you. Okay. I'll let you do it. Yeah,
I took a little extra time.
But I mean, the nickname, the just.
Oh yeah, he's known by nickname.
Yeah.
He's the one name guy. He's talking about is Pudge, like MJ or Kobe.
Yeah, you say LeBron, you say Kobe, you say MJ, you say Pudge. But yeah, I mean the number 7 jersey. It was just, and it was right there whenever. I mean, because that was a phenomenal run they had with those teams. I mean, with Juan, with Ruben Sierra, with all those guys doing what they were doing. I mean, it was just.
And didn't he get his first major league time as like a 17-year-old or 18-year-old?
Yeah, he was young. I remember that.
18 or 19
I
for
remember
sure.
Coming up, and I think he was like, because he played. Do you have how many seasons he played? I mean, he.
No,
played,
I got for us. I think it was like 17 though.
Yeah,
he
I think he played
damn near
forever.
20 years.
Yeah.
And I heard that the first major league game he ever attended was his first start.
Really?
Because he came from, was he Dominican or
I
Puerto
think he's
Rican?
Puerto
Rico.
Rican.
Yeah.
So he came over, and I want to say too that I heard that he's like our first homegrown Rangers to make the Hall of Fame.
Sure. Yep. Yeah.
So he's like our guy, and he's the first one to we developed him, and he
Yeah.
made it.
Yep.
So I'll go next since
Sure.
you're good.
Yep.
I had Pudge as well, so I'll just piggyback. I had the numbers as a career 296 hitter, 2,844 hits, 311 home runs, 1,332 RBIs. And coming from a catcher, those are huge numbers. He was a 14-time All-Star, 13-time Gold Glove, 7-time Silver Slugger. He won the MVP with us in 99. The year after he left us, because he played for us from 91 to 2002, that next year he won the World Series with the Marlins, and I think everyone was cool with that.
Didn't he get another one with Detroit?
Detroit didn't. He made it to the World Series, but they didn't win it. He came back in 09, and he's in our Hall of Fame, and the fucking Nationals put him in their Hall of Fame.
How long did he play with
He
the
was there
Nationals?
like 2 years.
Yeah.
And that was like twilight of his career, because after us he went Miami and then Detroit, and then I think he ended up there. So I think they were looking for numbers.
Were they trying to piggyback off the Washington Senators?
Maybe, but you don't do that.
Yeah,
we're not going to retire, Scherzer's number here or something.
Yeah.
But to me, he's my favorite. So I just piggybacked off of Brady's.
I mean, 13 Gold Gloves as a catcher.
And there was like a streak of like 10 in a row.
Yeah,
he won that, and the All Stars were like from 94 to 2003. Like he just had this stretch.
Well, his arm was insane.
Oh yeah, he could pick a guy off at any position. He would pop so quick.
Well, because now you look at these guys now, and you've got two types of catchers, right? You've got the guy that drops bombs and is a terrible defensive guy, or you've got the guy that's amazing defensively, and they just know he's going to hit 190 and have 2 home runs a year.
Robertson Trinos.
Yeah.
Sometimes though, you get a Buster Posey.
Yeah, I mean that's
why they're so rare. And those guys will go number one overall in a draft, because if you can get a defensive, but like a plus hitter, that's a cornerstone player.
Because like Jeff Mathis for the Rangers here recently, I mean they said he was one of the best catchers defensively and could like call a game, and like Lance Lynn even said like most of his success with Texas was because of Jeff Mathis, but the dude batted like 180 the whole time he was with us. It was terrible. So
hey, if I could bat 180 and be in the majors, you better believe I'm calling the best game I can.
Better than what I'm doing for sure in the majors.
Oh yeah, I'm bragging like I'm a one hitter. If I got one hit in the minor leagues, my life would be complete.
Yeah. It's one of those jobs like we talk about all the time, like a punter, like a backup quarterback. Like
if you could be the backup quarterback for like Patrick Mahomes, no one knows who he is. Guy's making $1 million a year.
Well, the example I always use is Chase Daniels. If you could be Chase Daniels, you've got 12, 15 million in the bank, or 20. Who knows?
I bet he's been in the league over 10 years. It's got to be.
And he's got minimal damage on his body. Spot starts every now and again. So best job in the world.
Like Brock Osweiler. Yeah. I would love that because he signed a huge contract. Dude, a lot of that was guaranteed.
He made a lot of money. Mm-hmm. The Rangers had and they still have him, I think. He's a bullpen catcher. And I assume he makes somewhere around league minimum. But he's never on the roster, and he just gets paid to just...
He travels?
Yeah, travels with them. Yeah.
And hangs out with the guys.
Yeah, and he gets paid, like I'm sure it's... If it's not league minimum, it's somewhere close to it,
And if he's, like, technically on the roster, don't you, like, 10 years after that, you get, like, what is it, like...
Full pension?
Full pension,
yeah. Pension.
Are you kidding me? I would catch all the bullpen sessions for 10 years and get a pension.
I thought you were about to say, I'd catch all the balls.
All the balls.
Right here.
Right, anywhere those balls want to go.
I was going to put, I asked you guys before, did you put Pudge? I assume y'all did.
That's a given.
He's a given on mine. I didn't put him, but he's probably my favorite Ranger of all time. But my first guy is Juan Gonzalez.
Okay.
I mean, the power, he was there on those, he was a cornerstone, like, in those mid-90 teams that first, got the first division titles.
He had the little curly mullet.
I mean, what else can you say? He had the chain. He just had that swagger that all them, kind of mid-90s players had. He was one of my, you always kind of set on the edge. You set up whenever you got to bat.
And he was my favorite hitter on the team. Pudge was my favorite player, but when Juan came up, I was like, anything. It's like when Hamilton came up, when he was killing it for us. It was like, anything could happen right now.
Yep.
And I think he won, at least, did he win 2 MVPs for us?
One for sure.
I think it was, one for sure. I don't remember if there was a second one or not.
Well, anyway, in the 90s, we had some MVPs, and then A-Rod got one a few years later, so.
And there's some bad blood with Juan Gonzalez and the Rangers, if I'm not mistaken.
I've heard something like that.
Because they're not, he doesn't ever come back to any of the, so I don't know.
Did they retire his number? Do we know that?
I don't think so.
I think he deserves it because, like Matt said, he was there for that late 90s run where we were, winning the West and always up against the Yankees, unfortunately. But those were great teams for us.
Yeah.
That was our first, great run of baseball in Arlington.
Yep. And then there was a decade and a half of really
mediocrity
stretch we're going in.
If we would have gotten one of those World Series, though, it would have been all worth it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would take 10 years of shit for a championship.
Yeah, for sure.
And then 10 more years of shit for another championship.
For sure. All right, you want to go with your second one, Brady?
Yeah. So my second one, I'm I'm gonna go with Ian Kinsler.
Ooh.
Yeah, the Kinsler. So I grew up watching the Rangers. It was kind of just like a hobby type thing. But then I guess in 2004 was really when I started like doing more of the, fantasy baseball / watching the stats a lot more and really following the guys and following what they're doing. And Ian Kinsler came up in 2006, and I'll never forget, we watched his first game. We had a sports marketing class in high school, and it was, all the guys, me, Brandon Ewing, Jeremy Kleiber, all those guys. And we watched opening day that day, and that was his first hit. And he was number 5, and I was number 5 in high school. He wore the high socks. I thought that was so cool. And he was just, he was so fun to watch,
Let me interrupt you real quick. Was he part of that to share deal or no?
No. So he was actually, he came up with the Rangers.
Okay. All right.
He was at, I can't remember how this goes. He was at Arizona, I believe. And man, I'm blanking. I think it was Dustin Pedroia was there at the same time. And then they said, hey, like Dustin Pedroia is going to play. And so he moved to Mizzou and then went and played at Mizzou and then got drafted by the Rangers.
Okay.
Yeah, came up through Frisco and all that stuff. But yeah, you guys follow like Michael Gruber, Tweet Grubes?
Yeah, Tweet Grubes.
Tweet Grubes, yeah. So he's the
cool name, though.
He's the guy that runs all the music and stuff for the Rangers. But he's got like this list of all the current Rangers and what their nicknames are. Like he's got all these nicknames for him, and he would call Ian Kinsler Puss, Puss, and it's pop-up slump shoulder, because every time he would swing, he would drop his shoulder and it just hit it 20 miles up in the air. So yeah, pop-up slump shoulder is what he'd call him. But,
I'm sure that's what the guys called him too.
Yeah, Puss, yeah.
Very popular.
Man, it's crazy. He was kind of the first one I kind of realized was like kind of like a lady's favorite, like a kind of a heartthrob. Like I know some people that name their kids like Kinsler. They have little boys. Like there's little boys all over DFW named Kinsler.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah. Yeah. He was a good player. I didn't.
Not as good as Dustin Pedroia though.
I didn't even think about him.
Pedroia what is his name?
Pedroia the
Destroyer is always one of my favorite nicknames.
But imagine having like those two guys in your
that
in your
middle
college
infield's
system.
ridiculous. Yeah, they're both. Yeah. One of them won MVP. The other one was a multiple-time All-Star.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a great team.
Because Ian Kinsler's up there in home runs for the Rangers. I can't remember specifically, but I want to say he's right there behind, Palmeiro and Gonzalez.
He probably had the vast majority of his great years right here. Yeah. So. And for a second baseman, 30 home runs, that's a huge feat.
Yeah,
he was a 30-30 guy, wasn't he, a year or two?
Yeah, because he was fast in the prime of his career.
Yeah, 30-30, that's nothing to slouch about, especially at a second baseman when you play a high level like that.
He ended his career with 257 home runs, and so Joey Gallo has 145 right now, I think. So just kind of to put that in perspective,
Did you know we traded him, though?
Yeah.
Okay. Because he's not going to get any more for us.
Asking this guy?
No, because that was the worst. That's what I looked at is Rougned Odor has 146 home runs for the Rangers, and Joey Gallo has like 145. So it's like I really wish Joey would have gotten a couple more.
Yeah.
I was hoping
just to get ahead of him.
Yeah,
right.
just to get ahead of him, because I'm like,
I'm so happy with that trade, though. I'll talk about it right now if you want. But the amount of money that he wanted, because who's his agent? It's one of the
Boris.
It's Scott. Yeah, who's going to demand the world?
He doesn't.
And he's just not worth it to me.
No, he had really good. And I'm sorry for going off topic.
No, we can talk right now about the trade.
He had this was in the past 3 years. This was his best trade value, because the past couple of years when we tried to move him, he was either hurt or he was just slumping terribly, and so they were like, we're going to give up a top 20 prospect. And to be honest with you, the guys that we got for him, I'm a huge fan of both of them. We got a kid named, because we got 4 total, and of the 4, 2 of them instantly became our number 5 and number 6 prospect in our in our.
I saw, and it said are updated, and like you said, 2 of them were like top 10, and the other 2 were like 19, and then like 30 something.
Yep.
So we got 4 guys that are now top like 40 in our own system.
It kind of stinks because they're both middle infielders, and we've already got a pretty packed middle infield.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, Josh Smith, He's playing for Hickory right now in high A ball. He'll probably get moved up to Frisco pretty quick. And then a dude named Zeke Duran. He's
a great name.
Yeah.
That's a great name.
Ezekiel, but he goes by Zeke. So, yeah.
Naturally, as you would.
Right, yeah. But they came over, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they're just completely destroying high A balls. So.
And Spencer Howard was the one, and he's already made a start, right?
Yeah, he was all right. It's kind of what I expected. I mean, he didn't go strike out 20 or anything. He lasted, I think it was like 5 innings or something, and we ended up losing the game. But just wanted to see a little pitch. But yeah, we got him in the Ian Kennedy and Kyle Gibson trade,
and I'm fine with that because I don't think Gallo will ever either stay healthy for a full year or hit above 270 in a full year, and he's gonna want I don't know, $30 million a year or something ridiculous.
His big thing here recently is he's been so good at just on base percentage.
Yeah,
so
he did work on that. Yeah. He's striking out less and he's getting on base, which is great. But I don't want to pay a guy $30 million because he gets on base pretty good. Yeah, you got to either hit ridiculous power or you got to have a consistent batting average. And he is good with his glove, but for what he wanted, I don't feel comfortable paying that because we're gonna have to pay that Lighter boy.
Yeah,
he's gonna be good.
I wanted him to just blow up the team and just move on and rip the Band-Aid off.
They kind of did because they didn't have a whole lot to trade. They traded what they could. And you don't want to trade your young guys.
Yeah, and Kyle Gibson's not going to – he might, but I don't think he'll recreate what he's doing this year. I think this is just kind of a fluke year. So, I don't know.
Which is, again, though, that's why you trade them when that trade value is at the absolute peak. Yeah, trade them. Yeah. It's like they did with Lance. Didn't they? Lance Lynn was last year? Yeah. And he still looks great. I saw – I don't know, it was like a Sunday night game when he was starting for Chicago, and I looked at his line. I was like, God damn, that dude still has a great ERA, great numbers. He's one of my favorite players just because he's like a bigger boy. So when you see those guys, it's like, dude,
cool
possible.
Cool Lance Lynn story. So I went to spring training 2 or 3 years ago whenever he was pitching for the Rangers, and I was just hanging out, and there was a guy that was like, hey, dude, did you see the Ryan brothers? And I was like, no. He was like, oh, yeah, dude, the Rob and Rex Ryan are huge Lance Lynn fans and grew up with him. And I was like, no way. And so I went to get a beer and I walk up to the concourse area of this little, spring training or whatever. And Rob and Rex Ryan are just walking down the concourse with Lance Lynn jerseys on. And I was like, hey, can I get a picture of you guys?
Oh,
and they're
cool.
like, yeah, sure. So I've got
I'm glad I know the origin story of that picture now because I've seen that picture.
That's awesome because both those guys seem so cool. Yeah. And the fact that they're Lance Lynn fans of all people.
And it was so funny. So they were sitting a row over and down one from us, right by the dugout, and they were just pounding those big beers, just going to town on them. Yeah. And there was 3 or 4 other guys that were there with them, groupies or whatever kind of thing. And it was nuts. I was just watching it, and that was when we still had Elvis. That was when we had Rugi. That was when we had Joey. And they were literally picking up bats and signing them, and then just passing them through the fence. Rob and Rex Ryan walked out of that place with 5 bats apiece that were all signed and bags of balls that were all signed and stuff.
Let me ask you a question. Were you wearing sandals?
No, I wasn't wearing sandals.
All right, because which one is it?
Red?
Is
it
Rex? He's in the feet. I was hoping you weren't wearing sandals.
How would Brady remember what he's wearing? I didn't know where you're going.
Wearing closed-toed shoes on that one. Yeah,
because you might.
Brady took those shoes off, put them up on his chair.
What's up?
Started spreading those toes.
I was like, hey, can I take a picture with you guys? And they were like, no. And I was like, oh, really? And I took my shoe off. They're like, yeah, picture. So,
only if you take your shoes off. Take your shoes off. You got your number 2?
My number 2, second guy, Rusty Greer. Played for us from 94 to 02. 305 batting average, pretty good.
That surprised me.
That surprised me.
Pre-show.
119 home runs and 614 RBIs. He's in the Texas Rangers Hall of Fame. Never won a Gold Glove though. Somehow, I would have sworn that guy. Maybe all the highlights is him just going balls out. Always.
It seems like hard. I always remember him in left field. Was he always
He was a left field.
Yeah, always a left fielder.
That's the only thing that made me question because I asked you if he was the one who made that diving catch during Kenny Rogers' perfect game.
And if he did, it would have been his rookie year because Rogers pitched that in 94. So that would have been his rookie year he made that catch if he did, which I could totally see it. But yeah, he's just known for laying out. That's why it surprised me so much. 1, he didn't win a Gold Glove, but 2, that he actually batted .305 for his career, which is, that's amazing to be a career .305 hitter.
He was just always you looked at him, he just looked like a likable guy,
I think it said he was from Alabama, so he's probably just an easygoing guy.
Good old boy.
Yeah, he probably lives on a ranch now, with a cooler full of beer. Yeah. If you went over there, you would just get a beer and watch a game with him. Just a cool guy.
Just that old dude named Rusty.
Exactly. And when have you ever met a Rusty you didn't like? I worked with the Rusty. He's an easygoing guy. Rusties are all cool guys.
All right, my second one is Derek Holland. Super cool dude. You know, great sense of humor. You know, we all know about the impressions and stuff. He played a huge part in the World Series teams. He was a lefty, wore number 45. I don't know. I just thought he was always a cool dude. You can see him now. He's like always on Twitch playing video games.
Yeah.
He's
big with like fan interactions too. Like he's a fan favorite.
Like
for
I
a
really
reason.
hope like when he's done playing, like he moves back to Dallas and somehow gets a spot on the fan or something. Like because I think he would just be perfect. Like he's got the personality. I just always liked him. Like I said, he was a left-hander. He had one World Series game. Maybe it was an ALCS game where he just pitched lights out.
Didn't he go like 8 2/3? I don't think he got a complete game, but it was like
he had a small window of success, but that window of success he had, I mean, he was lights out.
Well, and it lined up perfectly.
He had so much. Everyone thought like great things of him too, and he didn't quite live up to it. Obviously, he was still a great pitcher, but I think now he might be a bullpen guy. He's starting.
He's playing for the Tigers, and I think he's getting some spot starts every once in a while. I don't think he's.
Yep.
I think
he's doing long relief, and then like he said, Brady said, he's getting some.
Well, I hope he gets his 10 years, gets that pension we talked about.
Well, he's got to be 10 years by now.
Yeah,
you're right because the World Series run was 10 years ago.
2010.
Yeah. Well, good
But
for him.
we had a good run there where we had pitchers like Derek Holland, then we had like Tommy Hunter.
Big game
Matt
Hunter.
Harrison. I think we had Matt Harrison.
Dude, is he the one that had a back injury that showed real promise? That sucked. I think he just got contract though. Those are guaranteed contracts.
Yeah.
At least he got paid.
And then we have Nefty. Like we just had.
I'm glad y'all didn't say C.J. Wilson. I appreciate you keeping him off that list.
Well, but C.J. too. Like all those guys, like we
worst.
Yeah,
he is. He is.
I was really hoping you didn't.
No.
All right, good.
Derek Holland. You want to go for your third one?
Yeah. So my third has absolutely nothing to do with Rangers' success or anything, but it was just the iconic batting stance was Mickey Tettleton.
Oh, dude. The one where
dude. Yeah, everyone knows, like, Matt, you can't see what we're doing, but everyone knows how you hold that bat.
Yeah, the bat back. I'll never forget, like, that was in the prime heyday of me playing, like, wiffle ball in the backyard, and everybody was holding their bat like Mickey Tettleton.
Yeah.
It probably, like, set my basebal swing back, like, 4 years.
Every coach is like, you fucking idiots, don't do that.
Yeah, but, like, always having it at the, a horizontal bat, ready to go.
It was horizontal.
Was he the only one who ever did that? And then when the pitch come, then he would get set and he'd get ready, which was weird. Yeah. I guess it was just what he was comfortable with.
So if you watch Jose Trevino doesn't go completely flat.
Probably more like 45.
He's more of a 45. He's pretty far back, and I think there was a couple other guys that did it around the time Mickey Tettleton did it. But I just remember, and like I looked up his stats, and it was like he was a career like 240 hitter, and he hit that, like, probably if you would put your bat up, you get a hit a little better. But
right.
He played for the Rangers at the very end of his career. But I just remember that was whenever I last remember. I guess my earliest memory of a Rangers game was watching him hit, and it was just like. That's so weird.
I can still remember that batting stance.
Because it was, you watch him, and then you would watch Ruben Sierra, and it was so opposite.
I'm glad.
Julio Franco.
Julio Franco. Yes.
You talk about batting stances that set you back. Like, I remember holding my bat like Julio Franco, like over the top, and my dad came unfucking glued on me. Like, and I was young, but
I was more
that's how my dad.
Sheffield. I was up there. Yeah. like King Griffey Jr.
And then when I discovered Griffey, then I totally changed my stance.
Yeah, Griffey had just the sweetest smooth.
The sweetest swing ever.
I don't
we
think
talked about that
everybody would want that swing, but that was like a gift from God, to swing like that.
Did you see him on the Herman River?
Yeah. It was rough. It was rough seeing the kid with gray hair and a gut.
Yep.
Not much of a gut, but he had some gray hair.
He's thick. I mean, he's a lot thicker than he was whenever he was 20-something.
Yeah.
Not me, though. I'm the same size.
Yeah, right. I mean, we're all shredded here. Totally. Matt's just trying to catch up to us.
Yeah, exactly.
But still, he'll forever be like that kid to me.
Yeah.
That came. Didn't he come up when he was like 19 or something? He played with his dad.
Yeah.
So he's just a one-of-a-kind talent.
You got your
next?
third?
Yeah. This guy, probably my favorite because growing up, I played a lot of third base. So I had Dean Palmer. He was a third baseman from 87 to 97. Only a 251 hitter, but he did have 275 home runs and 849 RBIs. And I don't have any cool stories. I just like Dean Palmer because I played third base.
Mean Dean, dude. He was
that his nickname.
Yeah, Mean Dean Palmer.
Go ahead.
He's
He's on Mount Rushmore. But yeah, Dean Palmer. He was he was one of my favorites.
Yeah, just probably because we play the same position.
Yeah.
You know, when you're a kid and you see a guy that plays your, you know, he's on your team. So that was the connection I had. I
remember going to like once again early games. This is probably back whenever I was in like 4th grade and he was playing on 97, whenever that was. But I just remember like he played 3rd and then Will Clark played 1st.
Yep.
And so it was like me and Dean Palmer and Will the Thrill. Like it was so awesome.
Such great nicknames
yeah,
too.
right.
Will Clark was a really good player too, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
He could have been on like an honorable mention.
Wasn't something up with him here lately? Steroids, maybe, or maybe
steroids. He's got to be in his 50s,
or maybe he's just an asshole.
Like he might be thinking of Aubrey Huff, but yeah, it's.
I thought Will Clark was like notoriously like an. Asshole.
I think I've heard that.
Maybe
too.
him and Palmero had something. Like, didn't they both go to Mississippi State back in the day?
Maybe, yeah, that sounds right.
And I always kind of heard maybe Will Clark was an asshole.
Yeah, I think he's in the Rangers Hall of Fame. Will the Thrill, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, my third one. Can't believe he hadn't been brought up yet. Maybe he's the last one, but Michael Young.
Yeah.
I mean, just
I really didn't even think about that one.
Quintessential
He was like our
Ranger.
grown, like when you're. I'm sorry, but like you said, in high school and stuff, he was like the man. So that was a good one.
I mean, he was like Mr. Ranger.
He was Mr. Reliable, man. 300 plus our.
He did everything
average.
for the club. He moved positions. Yep. He helped foster Elvis Andrew. I don't know. I'm kind of surprised.
I honestly didn't even think of that, man. That's such a good
Mr.
one.
Ranger.
I had him on mine, and I was going between him and Pudge as the number 1 overall. Because I watched a lot more Michael Young play than I did Pudge.
Oh yeah, sure.
That I remember, and so I mean, Michael Young isn't on mine per se, but yeah, I mean he's
I can't believe I overlooked that. That was a great one.
Yeah,
you're right.
Mr. Ranger for me.
Mm-hmm.
You want to finish yours off?
So my last one, I got Adrian Beltre. I mean he's
on mine.
He's not a lifer, as far as
I think when he retires, though, he retires with us.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
he goes in as a Ranger.
Yeah, I think
hope
so. Like Michael Young and Kinsler, those guys were came up through the whole organization. But I mean, Beltre it was so fun to watch him play because you got guys where they get old and you're like, oh, gee, like Pujols. Like Pujols, it's hard to watch him run around the bases and he can't physically play defense at all. Like he can't move. Beltre was at the very end of his career, and like the dude was still, snagging 110-mile-an-hour hits.
Dude, he was like a Hoover over there.
Yeah.
Anything coming down that third base line, you just knew he was going to come up with.
And he had the personality. I mean, he was just such a likable guy.
And he was such a good. He was the perfect person to pair with Elvis to kind of show Elvis. This is how you be professional.
To bring him along, for sure.
Yeah, and they had such a cool relationship. Yeah. With the pop-ups and the antics there. Like,
didn't he not like getting his head touched?
No,
Always fucked with him like
hated
that.
getting his head touched.
Yeah. Dang, those are two really good ones. My last one's not that good.
Come on, let's hear it.
It's Kevin Minch.
Nice.
From 2002 to 06.
Shrek, dude.
Yeah, I was going to say he's known for having the biggest head in the majors. So he was nicknamed Shrek. Dude, he just seemed like such a good guy. I was such a big Kevin Minch fan. He just seemed so nice.
I think they said his head size was like 8.5.
That's insane.
I mean, I've got a huge head.
I think it's bigger than that.
I got a huge head, and it's 7 3/4, and then they were like 8.5, and I was like, oh my!
It was like
God,
custom made.
Huge.
Yeah, they said biggest head in the majors. But he's still been. I got 268, 89 home runs, and 331. Yeah. So he made a nice career for himself. I'm sure he made some bucks, but he just seemed like such a cool guy too.
He's my Mickey Tillotson on my list.
Yeah.
Like so stupid to leave him out for Michael Young.
Yeah, I didn't even include like Hamilton, Young, Beltre, but Dean Palmer and Kevin Minch made my list.
I'll never forget one of the stories I heard about Kevin Minch. I think he was like in a huge slump. It was like a 20-game slump, and he didn't have a hit. And like somebody was like, "Hey, have you tried changing the size of your shoe?" And he's like, yeah, I'm wearing like a 10 right now, but I'll bump up to a 12. And then he like started hitting, and he was like, turns out I was wearing my shoe 2 sizes too small. I'm like, how do you even think? Yeah, like he had on the wrong shoe size.
Baseball players do anything plus a slump. Yeah,
so weird.
You'll try anything.
That makes me question his intelligence.
Oh yeah,
his name is Shrek.
Yeah,
it's his nickname.
Yeah.
All right, so Adrian Beltre, that's a good one.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Kevin Minch.
Thanks,
that was
man.
a good one. That was a good one. Beltre was on mine. He was my last one, so I'll just go ahead and get into my my honorable mention. Mm-hmm. Really obscure one, O.W. McDowell.
Oh, yeah.
Great name.
I say this just because I got to meet him. My dad got him to come out to remember Red Oak had Founders Day.
Yeah.
It was like
Hell
a big,
yeah, it's the best day of the year.
Yeah,
Kidding
for
me?
anybody that doesn't know, Founders Day is kind of like our little, where we grew up, our
It's a
little
small
town
town. We have a small
carnival,
town,
like
yeah.
fair type deal. Like you'd have a parade in the morning and you'd ride it with your football team with your football jerseys on and like throw candy, you know. And my dad had started the Little League there because there was just Red Oak Baseball Association, and then my dad started a Little League there.
Was it North Ellis? Or?
Not at that point. It was just Red Oak Little League.
Yeah, 'cause that was the league I played in.
It was
the
behind-
dad your dad found.
behind
East
Eastridge,
Ridge.
right?
Behind
Yeah,
Eastridge, yeah.
That's where I played.
And he got Odom McDowell to come out, and we had a tent there,
That's so
and
awesome.
you know, to drum up sign-ups and all that stuff. And he got Odom McDowell to come out and hang out for an hour or so. And I still have an Odom McDowell signed baseball, and I got
That's
a picture
awesome.
with him. So
Hell yeah.
obscure.
Really
I
cool.
never saw him play, but
Yeah.
he was always, you know, one of my favorite Rangers just for
That's
that
awesome.
reason.
Yeah.
You want to bust yours out?
Yeah, I'll
all
just
at
bust
once?
mine out. Hank Blaylock is on there for me.
Yeah, okay, he's on mine too.
Played third
Hey,
base.
look, that's our first,
Yeah.
other than Pudge,
Yeah.
our unanimous
I mean,
decision.
his name was Hank. You know, he could mash a little bit.
No, he could definitely
Hank's
match.
homies in left field.
Hank's
you remember those
homies,
guys?
yep,
Yeah, Hank's
yep.
homies.
And then Elvis is on mine.
got Elvis on
and then Dean Palmer. And I'm really surprised. Did Hamilton make anybody's honorable mention? I'm really surprised.
I mean, to me, it kind of goes back to the whole like John Wetland thing, and like it's a weird situation, you know, like
Two different situations.
wait, yeah,
so
for sure.
Let's not
For
get
sure.
those
One's
twisted.
with an adult.
for sure. But I mean, yeah, I mean, Josh Hamilton, what he did in the home run derby was just insane. I mean, that was stupid. But yeah, I mean, it's a kind of a weird. So I went to the game whenever they did the Hall of Fame. They put him into the Rangers Hall of Fame, and he's an awkward dude. Like he's just, I mean, hearing him talk, hearing him like,
Yeah, he's not like a media star.
He's very like just meathead sports and that's
But
it,
when you hear
know?
his story about like, you know, he was like the natural.
Oh, sure,
Because he
yeah.
could throw like 95 in high school, and then he could mash, 450-foot home run.
He could run
And
the
then he
bases.
just got this deviated path
Yeah.
from drugs. But
Yep.
I think if he would have stayed healthy, he would have been like the next Ken Griffey, where it's just like naturally gifted. He could do anything on the field.
Well, he
he had all the talent in the world.
Yeah, he showed it with us. I mean, what kind of player?
Yeah.
He's a league MVP.
And I think that's why he did best here, because we really kept him in check, but in a good way.
Right.
When he went to L.A., I was like, why
That was the
fuck,
worst
as a
move.
recovering
That was
addict, are you going to go to Los
terrible,
Angeles?
yeah.
Yeah, he should have went to, like, Cleveland or stayed
Tampa
here.
Bay or something.
Tampa Bay, yeah. But to go to, like, New York, Miami, or L.A., it was so stupid.
Yeah.
So I
didn't
I
we
knew right
have
when
a
that happened.
handler for him?
Yeah, they did.
That was in his contract.
Yeah.
They had like
That's what I'm saying. We
they had
kept
a
him in
handler.
check.
Just like Matt Bush.
Matt Bush, yeah.
Well, Matt Bush is his dad, but still, yeah, like I think he's on.
And he was, like, a top pick, too, Matt Bush. He would
Yeah.
have been, like,
That
very
that
talented.
dude threw gas.
Yeah.
And he did it from like a fucking Denny's parking lot.
That's
Yeah,
what they
he
said,
did. Yeah,
he was
we-
going 97 in a Denny's parking lot.
After, like, not really playing for years.
on flat ground, no mound.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
he's
Which I mean,
throwing-
I haven't thrown a bullpen at a Denny's parking lot, but I feel like I could.
yeah, I feel like yeah.
Let's go
Yeah.
throw a pin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like let's go.
You want to do your
Yeah,
honorable mentions?
so I had Hank Blaylock and Elvis as well. I mean, those guys are just like I said. Whenever back whenever it was Hank Blaylock at third, you had Elvis at shortstop, you had Ian Kinsler at second base, and you had Mark Teixeira at
That's
first.
pretty good infield.
I mean, those dudes.
pretty damn good.
I think there was one year when they the whole infield hit 30 home runs. I mean, like that's just insane, right? And he was fun to watch. He had the tattoos. He had the goatee. He had the Hanks homies. He was just not your quintessential baseball player. So he was fun to watch. And then the other one I got was Gary Matthews Jr. He was just
GMJ, dude.
One of the
Yeah.
greatest catches of all time.
just I just remember that catch.
I remember where I was.
Yeah, and I mean, I really think that catch got him
that contract.
Yeah, it got him that contract.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so it's like good for him, right?
Absolutely.
I mean,
that catch got, I think it was like a $50 million contract.
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he did have like good offensive numbers, but that catch was like, yeah.
I think he got busted for roids at the, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep,
it was
that
either
sucks.
him or I forgot the other guy's name that was there with him. But yeah,
It's just another example of the Angels taking our
I'm about to say,
players
is
when we're done.
LA where Rangers go to die?
Yeah,
CJ
absolutely.
Wilson, Gary
And-
Matthews.
Yeah.
Pujols.
Pujols is never with us.
See-
But,
Well, I mean, he went to LA to die. Yeah.
CJ Wilson,
Yeah.
Yep.
all those guys.
There was like 3 or
kinda
4
go out
guys
there
that
to
when we
die.
were done.
and they took a lot of contract too. Like they paid him a lot of money. Like
Yep.
they're probably still paying Josh Hamilton.
Yep.
I mean, yeah. That's,
Oh, yeah. They probably are.
That's nuts.
My turn. Kenny Rogers.
Yeah.
Great name, the gambler. He played for us from 89 to 95, 2000 to 02, 4 and 5, 4-time All-Star, 5-time Gold Glove. Pitched, I think it's our only perfect game in team history.
Yeah, it is.
July 28th, 94. He's in our Hall of Fame. I had Blaylock as well. And last but not least, Ron Washington, the manager.
You can't forget Kenny Rogers, though, fighting the camera guy. I mean, do you remember that?
I think I don't remember that.
Yeah, there was a
That sounds awesome.
there was a dude getting in his face. He was like filming him too close or something.
It's like from the Angels in the Outfield with Knox.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Knox had like 2 fights in 20
Knox
minutes.
is a badass,
Man. Yeah.
but he had a total 180 change of heart. I loved it.
So,
Sorry,
bringing
and then
up
Ron Washington. Yeah.
oh,
Sorry.
Washington.
Yeah, he won our only 2 pennants for us.
Yeah.
What
And
an
then
odd,
he did cocaine one time, just the
yeah.
once.
One time.
He
kind of
only did it
odd
once.
for like
People don't forget.
a 56-year-old man to just decide, you know what, I'm going to try coke for the first time. You know,
It's like, man, you should have been honest. You're like, I just relapsed or something,
Yeah.
but
I just enjoy cocaine. Okay,
I just really like cocaine, okay? You guys like winning games, and I like cocaine.
so
That's a good
going back
show
to Rusty
title.
Greer,
I like winning games, and I like cocaine.
winning games and cocaine. Okay,
That could be
We
a
have
show title.
changed the Mild and Lazy Guys podcast name to
on that perfect game, it was Rusty Greer
Nice.
Oh, with the
that
catch.
made that sinking line. He caught a sinking line drive in right center. He's playing center at the time. He was a rookie, and then Jose Canseco hit 2 home runs in that game. And then Pudge hit 2 home runs, and
Damn.
it was 4-0.
4 solo home runs in a
Yep.
perfect game.
Jeez.
Yep, and it was. And Greer also caught the final out, so it was Rusty Greer making that catch.
So that
diving
one
catch.
game actually tied in like 3 of our guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. I was gonna mention one more guy, and I couldn't. Now I'm blanking.
Oh.
Somebody talk.
Brady, what you been up to? I haven't seen you in like 15 years.
Dude, yeah, Kenny Rogers had like he had like this baseball camp, and me and my brother went to, and it was like right when they built the new ballpark, and we like got to go down on the field and stuff, and then yeah, like 2 years later, there was a cameraman getting in his face or something, and there was like video of him, and it was whenever the cameras were like, you know, like an 80-pound jukebox on their thing, and so yeah, I think he pushed him over or something like that.
I mean, if you have that on your shoulder, you're vulnerable because then I just push it up and you're falling backwards. Yeah, that's an instant move that you could just do.
Gabe Kapler.
Yeah.
He was always
Sexy
Yeah.
Gabe.
Yeah,
Gabe
he's-
the babe.
Is he still managing?
Yeah, I
for
thought he's
San
Bob-
Francisco.
San
Oh,
Francisco.
because he was with
Francisco.
Philly.
He was.
Yeah, he's in San Francisco right now.
San Francisco's having a great year too.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
another
okay.
one that I remember because of Gabe Kapler was around that same time, but Lee Stevens.
Lee Stevens.
Lee
yep.
Stevens was like, he was like quintessential. Like you could just look at that dude now and be like, oh, he was definitely on roids. Like it was right in that prime roids area. He would never wear an undershirt, and he would always leave like 3 buttons unbuttoned. And I'll never forget, he struck out in like either San Francisco or Philly. I don't remember where it was. He struck out and just broke the bat over his knee, and that was the first time I'd seen somebody
That's so cool.
break a bat over
Oh
their
my
knee.
God.
I was like, geez, that's...
You ever seen them break it over their head though?
Yeah.
Who
Who did? Who?
Wasn't that Bo Jackson?
Oh yeah, Bo Jackson.
Good lord.
Talk about a freak.
that's
He
a
had
good 30
muscles
for
coming
30.
out of his temples, dude.
Yeah.
Like that guy was just shredded. He's the only person I could say, like, yeah, he broke a bat over his
Yeah.
head.
Have y'all ever watched this 30 for 30? That's
Bo,
nuts.
Bo, is it called Bo Knows?
Bo
Is that
Knows,
the-
Bo knows, yeah.
I watch any 30 for 30. I love those documentaries.
Yeah.
Even Claire will watch them because like they're actually good
Yeah.
documentaries.
That's all we did in sports marketing senior year of high school.
That's
we
great.
Just watched 30
Dude,
for
y'all
30.
got all the cool classes. We didn't have shit
Yeah.
like that. I
wasn't
had to
in
take
that class.
welding, and I got kicked out because I welded the tables together. Like I flipped one upside down and welded them together.
But you technically welded a
I
successful
welded
project.
something, and I got
and it
hit-
worked, yeah.
And what's his name? Lewis swatted my ass with a
Jerry
big ass.
Lee. Jerry Lee Lewis was his name. That was
Paddled.
the head teacher's name.
It was. He paddled my ass for that too.
Yeah. He was big into the paddling.
Yeah.
He was from a different era, apparently.
He
Yeah.
made paddles with like
Yeah.
holes drilled in them, so you hear that thing whistling as it came smacked your ass.
My senior year.
Jerry Lee Lewis sounds like a guy that would make paddles and beat your ass.
My senior year, like he stopped doing it because somebody was like, "Hey, dude, you got to quit doing that. Like, you can't."
You're assaulting a minor right now. Like you can go
Yeah.
get in trouble.
So that was the end of like corporal punishment.
Yeah,
and
I'll never
schools.
forget. Complete sidetrack of what we've been talking about, but
yeah, let's
remember-
start corporal punishment right
you
now.
remember Brandon Savitt?
Yeah.
Yeah. He got caught dipping in Mr. Lewis's class, and instead of like blowing up or anything, he put him up on the table and made him sit in a chair and read out of a book, and Brandon was spitting into his hands. That was disgusting.
Ugh.
But yeah, it was just weird stuff going on in welding. Sorry.
That's hilarious.
That's what we went back to. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay, with that, let's move on to pick your poison. And we're going to let Brady
Okay. Here we go.
draw and read.
Here we go. I'm going to the bottom.
Yeah, stir it up. Go to the
Where I
bottom.
live.
All right, here we go.
All right, here we go.
What do we got?
It's 2.
Okay, read
Oh,
one.
yeah, it is 2. It makes sense. Oh, never mind. It's 1. Would you rather eat rice with every meal and never be able to eat bread, or eat bread with every meal and never be able to eat rice?
I'm eating bread, so I can go to Jersey Mike's and Firehouse. We're just talking about this. I can't give up Jersey Mike's.
Yeah, I'm not giving up.
That's an
Jersey
easy
Mike's.
one.
I'm eating
Yeah,
bread.
I mean, I think
rice is okay. I like stir fry, like when Claire makes that.
I'll just have to go double beans at Mexican food.
I can do that.
I just
Yeah.
feel, I mean, what's healthier though, rice or bread? It's got to be rice,
Both
right?
carbs.
Yeah, I
but
would say they're both carbs for
But
you.
rice, you can go brown rice.
Yeah.
You can go steamed rice.
Yeah, but I go to like, the only thing I would, like you said, like Mexican restaurants, I have to get beans, and then like when you go to Chipotle, I can't get that. But that would mean no Jersey Mike's. Can't go to Firehouse.
It's true.
Yeah, I gotta.
Does that count for like hot dog buns and hamburger buns?
it's
You
bread.
gotta have, I got
Yeah,
bread.
I'm giving
Yeah.
up rice.
Yeah,
I got.
I'm with
we're
you.
we're all bread.
Yeah.
We're all sandwich enthusiasts here, so that was
Yep.
a no-brainer.
That was easy. Okay.
That one sucked.
All right.
I thought it was gonna be good, but it fucking sucked.
Boo!
All right.
You
So
have so many of those guys.
Kick
Like,
him off, yeah.
I was wondering where you keep getting these. You just like send. What's his name? Tim Robinson.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I think you should leave. Have you watched that yet?
It's really good, dude.
So-
I watched a few episodes. They're all
Dude.
really good.
somebody sent me a preview where he's like at a haunted house.
That was me. I
Was
said
that you?
Hey, we were in a group chat.
Oh God.
Hey guys, Brady Sapp, first time listener, long time caller. So yeah.
Somebody sent that to me. It's the one guy that told you to watch the show.
Look, number one rule of coming on a podcast: don't make the host look like a douchebag. I know it's easy to do, but you have to fight it. But yeah,
No,
he's like,
you would like it, man. It really
dude,
is
I
good.
watched that preview and I died laughing at work. And then I turned it on and watched it with Lauren. And it's the scene 1, episode 1,
Yes.
where he's trying to eat the hot dog and then he chokes. And Lauren looked at me. She's like, "If you don't fucking turn
Yes.
this off, this is so fucking."
Oh yeah, I
stupid."
watched
Oh,
it
yeah.
by myself.
My wife said the exact same
She's
thing.
like,
Yeah.
"Turn it off." Like, I don't understand what you're
Yeah,
watching.
But it's all like he's like 15 minutes, and there's like 4 skits.
Yeah.
Per
Dude, it's
episode, so it's
funny.
real quick.
Jarrett Miller got me hooked on it, man, and it is it's hilarious. Like
Dude,
Yeah,
was so
it really
funny.
is.
it's basically just Saturday Night Live skits that they can't show on Saturday
Yeah,
Night
that's
Live.
what I was
all
saying. Like
it
I
is,
think
yeah.
these are skits he couldn't get on
Oh,
because
it's
that's
so
like
funny.
network, that you. And
Yeah.
then on Netflix you can do a whole bunch
Yeah.
of other stuff online. So I think he just took all these edgier sketches that people either wouldn't get or didn't feel comfortable putting on
Yeah.
TV and got his
So
own
it's like
way.
Saturday Night Live, but like funny.
Yeah, because he
Correct,
was
yeah.
on Saturday Night Live, which I'm imagining he was also a writer at one
Yeah.
point. So he's just a really funny guy.
But yeah, your wife would hate it.
No,
My wife
she did
hates
hate it.
My wife likes there was like one episode and one skit that she thought was funny, but everything else was like, this is the stupidest.
Out of
thing
like
I've ever
multiple
seen.
seasons, she liked one skit.
Out of all the time that me and my wife have been together, she does not like my TV. She doesn't like my music. The only thing she's ever laughed with me on was an episode of Top Gear. I don't know if y'all ever watched
Yeah.
the good Top Gear with
The British one.
the British one.
Yeah, I've seen episodes.
before they got kicked. She laughed at like one skit or one scene in the Top Gear, and that's
You don't like the new Top Gear, the Grand Tour, or no?
yeah. I like the Grand
okay,
Tour,
yeah, yeah.
but
you
the
don't
new
like the
Top-
American one.
No, I don't
Yeah,
like
it's brutal.
the new Top Gear. But
Yeah.
when Clarkson and
Yeah.
and
Jerry
and-
May and all
Me
those
and Claire,
guys.
we
Right.
just laugh at everything together.
Yeah.
You're so
works
lucky,
so well.
dude.
We're
You're
so
so lucky. Love you, babe. All right, so we're moving on.
You hear that, Claire? Matt loves you too.
I do love Claire. Do you want to get into BB talk now, or do you want to save it, or do you just scrap
You
it?
gotta take
or-
a piss break or something? You want to go?
No, we'll get into Angels in the Outfield. What year was this? 94? Did
Well, why don't
usually
y'all
always
keep
have the year?
talking?
So I was thinking between this and the Mighty Ducks, like the city
Oh,
of
yeah, they were
Anaheim,
really pushing the
they got a
fans.
lot of love with their sports teams.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's all
And
fan
I didn't know this, but this Angels in the Outfield was originally a movie in like 1951 or 1953, and it centered
Yeah.
around the Pittsburgh Pirates.
And you're right,
But-
94.
But at the time, Walt Disney had a minority stake in the Angels, so they kind of readapted it and made it about, Angels in the Outfield. But I was thinking, between D2 when they kind of unveiled the Mighty Ducks logo,
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
unveiled the team,
Yeah.
and then Angels in the Outfield, I was just thinking, they got a lot of love from Disney there.
Well,
in
they
a
were
couple of years.
basically why would you promote another fan base when you could promote your own?
Exactly.
Here?
So
I don't blame them at all. And I had on here before we start that I really like the California Angels. I understand why they became the Anaheim Angels because the stadium was there. But I hate the fact that now they're the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Yeah. That's fucking stupid.
That old logo they had with
classic,
the CA,
dude. It's so sweet.
If I could find
with
the
halo,
I would.
That's what I was saying. Like I love that. No, it's the CA and the halos around the A on the CA. I thought that was such a dope logo and scheme.
California
and now it's
Angels
just lame.
Was so cool.
Yeah, it really was. And it's smart too. It's like New England. Like
Yeah.
you're not just the Boston Patriots. New England, you're a whole area like Golden State Warriors. So they're all of California. So to be the California Angels is just smart to me because you're not pigeonholing yourself to one market.
Yeah.
You're all of California. So I just had to put that out there. I really hate when teams rebrand like that or relocate.
And
even.
so I remember when it first comes in on the movie. And I've never been out there. Is that big haloed A? Is it still out there? I mean,
I think so.
Is
That'd
it
be
really?
cool.
I think so.
That's cool. That was the first thing I noticed. I was like, man, that's awesome.
I think so. Cool. I think it is out there. So we open the movie with Roger and JP riding their bikes past Angel Stadium, and we get the shot of the big A with the halo. And the boys are talking, and JP asks why Maggie's house is called a foster home. Dude. And so that's when we first kind of learned that these boys, they're orphans, and they're in a foster home. And Roger just says, hey, maybe it's because the first family to let kids stay with them, or their last name is Foster.
And while they're doing this, they're riding their bikes through a pretty sketchy area.
Ghetto.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I noticed that. Like, that's the first thing I was thinking was like, you can't do this. Like, you can't do this, like anymore. It was just,
I've talked about it on the pod, but when we were little, in the summer, Mom would shove us out in the morning, and me and my brother would ride bikes. I mean, all across Red Oak. I mean, everywhere. There's no way I'm letting Landry do that. No. There's no way.
Nope.
Never.
Wow. I was gonna say, dude, this had to be the most depressing first 5 minutes of a movie.
Yeah, it's bad.
All they talk about is like their dead parents and their dad giving up on them. I was like so bummed out like 5 minutes in, dude.
So they return home and they find out, Roger finds out that his dad's there to visit him. And like you said, he's so excited. He thinks, hey, Dad's here to get me.
It broke my heart, man.
Yeah.
And his dad, played by Dermot Mulrooney, who's
typical, like, has that stereotype look like a deadbeat dad. Or
Mm-hmm. His dad tells him that he's going up north and that he's not taking him with him.
He traded in like his truck for a Harley.
For a motorcycle.
It's better for traveling. That's what I said. Better for traveling.
Like a nomad.
I noted too, and this was just something like you could tell when they're panning in and they're coming across the like street, they're trying to show like how bad the neighborhood is, and I laughed a little bit. There's a car. Did you see it? Like this car comes like screeching around the corner. It's like an old like Chevy Nova. It's like green. Comes screeching around the corner, and like 3 beer cans fly out of it as it's coming. Like if it would
nice touch.
If it would have gone straight, it would have hit the kids, and it was like going really fast around the corner. And I just said, LOL at the car screaming around the corner with the beer cans.
Shout out to the props
it's
department.
Probably that guy later on in the movie that's in the outfield with the that big hairy guy.
Yeah, he's
Dribbling for Mitchell.
It's probably that guy.
All right. So yeah, he also tells them that he's given up custody of him to the state, and then Roger very sadly asks his dad when they can be a family again. He says, when the Angels win a pennant.
So scummy. So
dude,
so bad.
I had to go take a shower. Like it was so bad, dude. Like I felt so
That's what
bad
I'm saying,
for
dude.
this kid.
It was a terrible opening 5 minutes for her father. I felt so bad for these fictional kids.
And then the next scene, we get JP and Roger sitting in the tree watching the Angels play. JP's holding the radio. Roger's got the binoculars. And Roger confirms how bad they are after Matthew McConaughey and another outfielder collide, trying to catch a routine.
This was the first time I noticed too, and I don't know. I can't really think of many baseball movies off the top of my head, but like
Little Big League.
So
that's a good one.
How come every catcher is like morbidly obese?
Yeah. When they've really they got to be the fittest to pop up like that. Like catcher's got to be in good shape.
So I wrote down in my notes. why is every catcher morbidly obese and every general manager / owner is a cowboy? Like a Western cowboy.
Yeah, they're always like some renegade cowboy.
I came from oil and I bought this whole team.
Why? Because they say I came from money. Because that's how else can you have all this money?
Yeah.
And I wrote down, and I'll find it. The Angels, the catcher, his name is Trisket. Like
his
the cracker.
real name?
No, in the movie. The character name.
Mesner was his last name.
Yeah, because I remember
Trisket Mesner. Yeah.
That's a great name.
Trisket.
I think it'd be like pork chop or something. He was a big boy.
Yeah. So they collide, trying to catch a ball, and then we get our first glimpse, our first Danny Glover sighting, and he's the manager of the Angels. And I didn't get his first name, but his Knox.
George. I just went
George
by
Knox.
George Knox.
George
Well,
Knox.
you're gonna go over the whole fight, because he goes flies the pitcher.
Yeah, so he goes to pull the pitcher, and the pitcher isn't happy. And he refuses. He's like, I'm not coming out. And he's like, give me the ball. And he's like, you want the ball? He throws the ball. He throws his glove. And
I put on here, Danny Glover's getting too old for this shit.
yeah.
Come on, how did nobody else write that down when that fight went down?
So and then he tells him he's washed up, and then he throws. They're on the ground in a scrum, and one of the best parts is the Angels bench clear, and then the Blue Jays clear, and then the manager's like, "Hey, it's not our fight," and they're like,
they're just
good
ready
point.
to go out and fight." He goes, "It's not
point.
our fight."
Good point.
There we go.
And
I
then-
love that scene, because that's just instinct of
Yeah.
baseball. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
let's get in there.
See
let's
that
go.
bench clear, and then they start
Yes,
going. He's like,
yeah,
"Hey,
exactly.
idiots! It's not our fight. Let it go." And then in the locker room after the game, good old George Knox goes berserk. He flips tables, and he's just trashing the team, telling them he's got no talent, and they got to meet. They got to be there at 9:30 in the morning to work on fundamentals. And one of the players is like, "Fundamentals in the middle of the season?"
The pitcher, his last name's Bass, the goofy one.
Wally
shoot,
Bass.
the
I think it's
character.
Wally Bass.
These are such great names, man.
He
Dude,
gets-
it's so good.
He gets hit by the bat and then passes out like 2 minutes, 3
Yeah.
minutes
Whit-
later. Yeah.
Whit Bass.
Whit Bass.
Whit Bass. So George isn't very happy. He goes in, he starts flipping over tables, trashing the team, and then he immediately goes up and meets with the owner and tries telling him that that he needs
gotta
new
trade
players.
everybody.
He's got to trade. He can't win. He's in the manager and the owner tells him like, you're not expected to win. He's like, but that's what I came here for. But he's basically just brushed off by the owner, and then he immediately gets rushed into a post game interview with Ranch Wilder.
Ranch Wilder.
Which
what a skis,
played
dude.
by J.O. Simpson, who was the
He's the
asshole
that
coach.
guy.
He's the asshole
the
coach
that guy
from
you
Big
recognize.
Green.
Yeah, exactly. He
Yeah.
plays the asshole in like everything.
Yeah.
He has a very punchable face.
Yeah.
Yes. So he's the radio guy, and George Knox immediately gets rushed into an interview, and it's hinted what they kind of have.
Yeah,
bad
they have
blood.
a history.
Yeah, they've got a history, and then he ends the interview in George Knox fashion, and he knocks out old Ranch Wilder there. And so the next scene, we go back to Maggie's house, and we meet the house jerk named Miguel.
Oh, dude, what a punk, man! Like just be nice, you know.
Read the room,
Read
Miguel.
the room, bro. And then later on in the movie, they're like, Miguel's gone. I would have been, if I was JP or Roger, I'd been like, good. But they were like, oh no, he's gone. Like,
So
no,
yeah,
later Miguel.
Maggie's in there is like, hey, everybody brush their teeth, wash their face, say their prayers. And as far as foster situations and foster parents go, I don't think you could have landed in a better spot with Miss Maggie, because
Oh, Maggie's a sweetheart.
They
there
didn't show
are
any
some-
cooking, but I bet she cooked real good.
There
I'm
are
talking
some-
homemade gravy good, dude.
There's some
homemade
horror
biscuits and
stories
gravy.
as far as
Yeah.
like foster parents go. Miss Maggie, they got a good one in her.
Yeah,
That's a good woman right there.
for sure.
That's a woman I'd settle down with.
Yeah, so
I'm just saying, she's a sweet lady.
is she your Paula Dean?
She does kind of look like she's like an Irish Paula Dean.
Yeah, I could see
get
that.
down
She
on
also played the Bird Woman on Home
That's
Alone
what
2.
it
That's
was.
what it. Yeah, I was trying to
Yeah.
think too. Why she
Yeah.
looks so
Yeah.
familiar.
She played the Bird Woman.
Okay,
on
so
Home
she's a
Alone
bit
2.
of a freak too.
Yeah. So then we get Roger praying to God that the Angels win the pennant so he can be a family with his dad again.
Yep.
So the next scene.
Hey, but Miguel brings down the room when he's like, she can't bend over anymore. That's why
Yeah.
you got to sleep in sleeping bags.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, just be nice, man.
Like, you're the
Come
older
on.
one.
Yeah.
Like, be nice to these
Talking
little
about,
kids.
Talking
Okay.
about JPP in the bed and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I think Miguel's had a rough life.
I
think we should give him a little leeway here. Come on, guys. He's
Don't
like
be
14.
a-
No,
don't be a dick.
but he had a mustache, so maybe I don't know. I don't know how old he was. So yeah,
Yeah,
He's
he
got to be
may
at
have
least
been, like,
18. Yeah, he's got to be at least 18. He's got
Anyways,
that wispy little mustache.
yeah.
And the next scene is up in the owner's office, and the owner informs Knox that he's been fined $5,000 for his fight with the
Yeah.
player.
Worth it.
Yeah, that's kind of what he says. He's like, I've never been clear, and he's basically well worth it. That $5,000. And then we find out from the interview, what was hinted at, that we found out that Ranch Wilder spiked George Knox's knee in their playing career.
Yeah, Knox was
basically
a catcher.
derailed his career, and he's saying that he was coming up into his best years, and Ranch Wilder kind of took that away from him. So they did a good job of kind of establishing where that bad blood between the two comes from. And then next we get JP and Roger at an Angels game, and we get introduced to Whip Bass for the first time, and he is the comic relief, and he is so funny.
Hey, I made a note. What about those bleachers in the outfield? Like how nostalgic is like bleachers in the outfield, like bleacher seats, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I remember at the old ballpark, like having bleachers in center field, like they were so uncomfortable, but like there's just something about sitting in like bleacher seats. Yeah.
And
you bring those little padded chairs and bend up. Now you sit for 3 hours.
Yeah, it was close.
I think minor league teams should have bench seats in the outfield.
Sure.
All minor league teams should have bench seats outfield.
Speaking of that, and I'm going to pause and derail. Have you been out to Cleveland to the Railroaders?
No, not yet. I've heard it's nice.
I want to go.
Yeah.
What is that?
They have an independent ball team out, and they have a badass stadium out in right off 67.
Cleveland Railroaders.
Railroaders.
That's
a
pretty cool name.
It's sweet, dude.
I didn't know that.
You can see it from the highway, and it looks really nice for an independent club.
Wow, good for them.
It's really
just
cool.
Such a long drive to get out there.
Who is this guys that
all
like
40 minutes of it?
Are these guys that like just couldn't cut it in minors? Like guys that played college and
so you can. There's been a couple guys from Red Oak play like independent ball, and it's basically it's just you get paid, and it's not that much.
Right, you probably have to have like another job in the off season.
Yeah, but you're just trying to get noticed. I mean, it's just another way
trying to build a resume,
and
you're trying to just
so
hang
it's guys.
on.
But what you're saying is guys that are really trying hard.
Yeah,
and it's not just like a softball league or
no,
a glorified softball league. These guys are trying
baseball.
to crack into the
you ever
minors.
Heard of they used to be called the Fort Worth the Grand Prairie Air Hogs.
Yep,
that's another great name.
Yeah.
Pete Incaviglia was the manager there. Another former Ranger.
Should have been Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. And I don't know if you've ever heard of Fort Worth Cats, but Fort Worth Cats they played at LaGray Field, which is legendary, going all the way back to like the 20s. But that was another. I think they were independent ball. I don't think they were minor league.
They had the Amarillo Dillas.
The Dillas.
Yeah, Amarillo Dillas. They had there was like the Lufkin Pump Jacks. I think they had one out there.
Minor league teams have the best names,
but they just
let's not
like
kid ourselves.
Like back at 10 years ago or so, they were just playing at like high school baseball fields. Yeah,
but so that's a big deal then.
Yeah, that's a big deal to have that Cleburne. The Cleburne.
It looks super nice.
I want to get out to Mansfield to their Field of Dreams out there. I've heard that's really nice.
It's pretty cool. Yeah,
that's cool. Let me find where I was.
Bass on the mound. I put Bass on the mound. What a wild card.
So it's so funny. Like,
he sets and sets.
Yeah,
and sets again.
Dude, it was so funny. Dude, he came sprinting out and he fucking slides and pops up. Dude, I was like, what is this guy doing? I laughed so
pitchers
hard.
though, but that's what pitchers are. They're like characters, you know. Like so, that's if you were gonna have you had a big guy at catcher, you're gonna have a character on the mound.
Yep.
And so this is where we get our first appearance of an Angel that is sent to help.
Yeah.
There's a long, deep fly ball to center field, hit to Matthew McConaughey's character, and the Angel comes in, swoops him up, picks him up, and like carries him like another.
It looks like 30 yards,
20
or something.
yards.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Makes the catch, and then we get our first Christopher Lloyd sighting, or Al. And he kind of explains what Roger just saw, because Roger's looking around like, anybody see that?
Yeah. Which I thought his hat, the AL, like
clever.
It's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very clever.
Like Angel, I just thought it was I thought that was pretty clever.
So Christopher Lloyd comes in, he kind of explains what Roger just saw, because Roger can't believe it. And then the Angels help good old Trisket, what was it, Mesmer?
Mesmer, yeah.
Trisket Mesmer hit a home run, and he shatters his bat.
Yeah. Blows it up.
Shatters his bat, rips one of the cover off the ball.
Yeah.
And they had talked about him being in like a 26 game like slump or something, and the Angels an Angel helps him hit the home run there.
I had on here too that seat. There's so many open seats, right? And they are squished in between this big fat hairy guy.
Yeah.
I guess that was there for a certain reason, but I was like, I would have been like scooting as far
and it was
as
in the bleachers too, so like they could have scooted down.
There was so much room.
No assigned seating here.
And they had this guy that just burped all over him, drinking beer, and he had hair coming out of everywhere. It's like Robin Williams' weird older brother.
I laughed a little bit too, because I think this was the scene he bounced the home run off of a crash test dummy
His
sign.
head. Yeah.
Remember the crash test dummies back in the day? That was legit.
Yep.
Yeah.
So then PJ, he wins a
JP.
Did I
You
say
said PJ.
Oh, I have PJ written. Dyslexia.
Get it
son
right.
Of a bitch.
Jeez.
So JP wins a photo with the manager, George Knox, and he's too shy. So he tells Roger, he's like, "Hey, I don't like strangers. You go ahead and take it." And Roger tells him about the angels that helped the team, and
Do you have the line that Knox said?
yeah, he's like,
He said, "Great, a psycho kid. You think they would screen them?"
Yeah. Well, he's like, he gets told that he has to take photos, and he's like, I don't want to do this, or blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I don't even like kids.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, a psycho kid.
The photographer's like, "Can we smile?" And they're
He's like, "It looks like a prison
looks like a
photo."
prison photo. Yeah,
They got
it
that.
really does.
So then, I guess Knox, he gets to thinking, and then he actually goes to deliver the picture from the game, and he asks Roger about the Angels, and then he ends up inviting him to the next game because he's got his,
He's willing to try anything.
yeah, he's just desperate. And
Yeah, he's desperate for.
he
They're
was
like on an
thinking-
epic losing streak. He knows his job's on
Yeah.
the line.
Yeah, like this is on the general manager, right? Like I had this written down. Like this isn't the coach's fault. This is general manager.
Manager's fault.
You completely you built a trash team.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Like these guys can't even play baseball. Like this is bad.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah, you're right. The
What is
general
anybody
manager should be
expected
getting
to
some.
do with this?
Yeah.
I guess they could go to the game next, right? And they get the VIP treatment.
Yeah, so Al comes back and he kind of lays down some ground rules for Roger. He said, "Hey, I didn't give you all the rules. Here are the rules. You just can't mention me to anybody." He's like, "You already told JP and you already told the manager.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's kind of the one.
Because no one
Was there
can
any
see
more-
you. No one can see other than Roger. No one else can see him anyways.
Was that the only rule? I think
think
that was the only rule.
Thou shalt not kill.
Yeah.
I think that was the only rule. And then the kids make that assistant David's life a living hell during the game.
God,
Like
he's kind of a creep though. Like
he gets
he's
nacho
just,
butt.
Yeah.
And he's in a bunch of stuff too from
Yeah.
the 90s.
Yeah.
But that hair and me coming from a guy that has like the same hair, I was like, I think I pulled it off a little bit better.
with the
But
linen suit.
He just
hair,
the linen suit, like
mustard all over it.
that guy's on a list somewhere.
Yeah, for sure.
He definitely is. So Roger finally sees an angel in the ninth, and it helps.
Kind of warming up. Him, what's his name? Himmerly.
Himmerling.
Himmerling.
He's kinda
That's
like-
Adrian
yeah.
Brody's character.
Yeah. So we got 2 future Oscar winners in this
Yeah.
movie.
So yeah, and the best hitter was up to bat,
Mitchell.
Mitchell,
Yeah.
and he's got the perm, like that mid-90s, like
He's got that
perm.
dirty.
I wrote
wet
this
perm.
later on. I said I would give anything to have Mitchell's perm mullet.
Dude,
like
it's so
just
At
good,
least
dude.
for like a day.
because that was Juan Gonzalez had that.
Yeah.
Like that
A
was
lot of those guys.
a lot
back-
of yeah.
dripping.
yeah.
It's just so
So
crazy,
nasty.
so gross.
Very.
Yeah.
So yeah, he actually pulls his best hitter, and he's like,
Yeah.
He puts the trust in Roger because he's
Yeah.
convinced now that he saw an
Yeah.
angel.
The big fat hairy dude. Himmeling for Mitchell. Go back to Cincinnati.
That was a great impersonation. That was pretty spot on.
dude, that was
So me-
spot
I
on.
think Brady practiced,
practiced
that before
that.
it
Yeah.
came over.
Me and Jeremy Kleiber say that too. We since we were in probably high school, we'll just Himmeling for Mitchell, go back to Cincinnati every time, all the time. Yeah. Shout out to Jeremy
Well,
Kleiber. Yeah.
y'all perfected that then because that was perfect.
So then Knox makes sure that the boys will be at every game, and they even work out a system to where
You just gotta gloss over Himmerly's greatest moment though. He had a infield inside
Yeah.
the park home run.
Oh, yeah, where the
and then
ball's
the errors
zigzagging
counts out
around.
as 14 errors. It's like a Benny Hill situation just happened. I'm sure 10-year-old me though was just cracking up.
Oh,
at that
yeah.
scene. I love
yeah.
that
He
scene.
gets on the dude's hat, and then
Yeah, and they
everybody
all
jumps
tackle
on
him.
him. Yeah.
One guy gets hit in the nut because at least one guy's got to get hit in the nuts.
So yeah, we get Knox making sure that the boys are at every game. They work out a system.
You tell him how he got him home though, because this broke my heart too.
Yeah, that was
Well,
brutal.
it's to where Roger can call in on away games right to the dugout and let them know. And they're walking through the tunnel, and he's got this sweet old school Porsche.
That's a classic Porsche.
Yeah, and he's like, hey, what? He doesn't ride in cars. He's like, yeah. Do you get car sick or something? He's like, no. Him and his mom basically lived in their car, and he slept, curled up like a cat in the seat. And so every time he gets in a car, his stomach starts
I
hurting.
feel so bad for these boys, man. That's like the writer was just trying to make a child
Yeah.
cry while watching this.
So they end up getting a ride in the bus.
That was sweet
on the
though.
way
To pull up in
home.
the team bus, that was clutch.
Which, like, back in the day, the coach didn't drive the bus, right? Like, he was driving, like he was driving it like he owned it.
Like dad on vacation, dude. So at the next game, no. Sorry.
Next game is that. Oh, you got it?
Yeah. So when they get home, the boys learn that Miguel was placed with the family.
Yeah, right? JP's so upset.
He's
so
pretty
upset.
bummed.
God bless you, JP. Heart of
Such a
gold.
good kid.
Such a good kid.
And then at the next game, Roger sees an angel with Mel Clark, and he tells Knox that, hey, he should start.
Yeah.
And
We got to tell you who
Mel
Mel Clark is.
Mel Clark is played by Tony Danza.
Tony D.
Tony D.
Tony D.
Tony
I'm sure
D.
no one ever calls him that. Brady acts like they've been friends for 20 years.
Yeah, me and Tony D.
Old Tony D.
Yeah.
And he's been like on the disabled list. I guess now it's
Injured
list,
yeah.
for like however long. And he's
And
like, hey, you're coming off right now.
And then there was a point earlier in the movie where they kind of shed some history where I guess they had been together in Cincinnati where Knox was a manager, and he said, hey, you're washed up, your arm's gone.
Yeah.
He traded him to California
to get away from him.
He's like, if I'd known you, I'd be coaching you again. I would have never done that or something.
And
so they had some bad blood between each other.
Yeah, and he said, too many pain pills, playing on too many pain pills. He's like, you forced them in my mouth. He's like, I didn't make you swallow them.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
Oh, good call, dude.
That was a good one. Yeah, and then he coughs and he's like, "Oh, get away from me! Is that contagious?" Like, geez, dude, what a jerk! Yeah.
And then you find out later on, guy has fucking lung cancer.
Yeah.
So it turns out he takes Roger's advice. Mel Clark starts the game, throws an absolute gem, a complete game shutout.
Yep.
The worst part about these baseball movies, though, is just how bad, like, Tony Danza's mechanics
The
are.
actors.
But you could see, like, he at least, they didn't cut from it.
Yeah, that's
Sometimes
true.
it'll just show, and then it's like some other dude. Like, Tony Danza actually took the mound and threw those pitches. So I know what you're saying, but I give him respect for at least going out there and trying. And he could throw. He's looking like Brock Holt out there.
You could tell a lot of the hitters in this movie like had played ball at some point. Like they were swinging good. Yeah, right. But yeah, Tony Danza, I was just like so hard to watch him throw the baseball. It's like this is so cheesy.
Gives me hope that maybe I can play in the majors.
Yep. And then, of course, it wouldn't be a Disney movie without a montage. After Roger gives them the advice to start Mel Clark and they win, basically George Knox is like, hey, whatever you guys want.
Yeah.
And they want to play baseball. So we get a montage
the neighborhood kids.
of a neighborhood baseball game, and then we get another, the montage continues with the Angels getting help from the Angels and going from last place to first place. So we get a montage
growing up in the
shooting up in the standings.
And honestly, I think every movie we review has a montage at some point.
Every Disney movie definitely does.
Yeah, we do a lot of Disney. So when you say montage, I was like,
I
always wait for the montage in our movies.
It was funny because you notice like in the montage of them moving up, Kansas City was in the AL West, and stuff.
Yeah,
and
they
it's
played
like,
Chicago later on in the West. I was like, how the hell is Chicago in the West?
I think they had Chicago and Kansas City in the AL West, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think they.
That's weird.
I don't know the history of it.
To me,
I
it
don't
doesn't
think
make
they ever
sense.
were.
I don't think, at least in that point, because it was about how it is now,
it was 94,
except the Astros
Astros,
were in the National League. But other than that, because it makes perfect sense, like for Seattle, LA, Oakland. I always thought it was weird for us to be in there, but I guess we're just in a kind of a weird spot.
Right.
Yeah, so the West in 94 was us, Oakland, Seattle, and California.
Yeah,
I guess they just had to make it more dramatic to go from like 8th to 3rd instead of just 4th to,
Did we win the
have them
division
that
in
climb.
94?
Were we?
Did we win it?
Oh, how the fuck would I know? I was 7 years old.
We did, with 52 wins. We had a
That
terrible
strike
division.
season. That was the strike season, yeah. 'Cause I think
94
Tony
strike
Gwynn was
season.
batting like 400 or something that year.
What a terrible division. We won with a record of 52 and 62.
Wow.
California was 47 and 68.
Man, that was a shitty division for sure.
What a terrible division.
Now we got the NFC East is the equivalent.
Yeah.
That's another thing I didn't get. In football, we're on the East, and in baseball, we're in the West.
That was strategic because Tex Schramm wanted the Cowboys to always be playing big markets.
That makes
so he
sense,
put them in
though.
there.
That's how you can grow a
That's
team.
why Tex Schramm was a freaking visionary. And I mean, he was so smart. He
That
brought
really is, because that's thinking so far down the line.
He brought in pylons. He brought in the flags.
Cheerleaders? Was he the
cheerleaders? He brought in flags that hang from the goalposts. I
now
mean,
these
he's
are
a
things
visionary.
that everyone does.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying?
He's a visionary. Okay, before we get sidetracked on football.
Miguel. He gone.
Miguel, and then we get the montage of the Angels climbing the standings, and then we find out that Roger's dad has officially given up custody.
No, they had a court hearing.
Yeah, Roger finds out that he can't go to the game because he has to go to court.
Yeah.
And
So
then,
JP tries to help out. And,
Yep.
Cries because they
Yep.
lose.
And JP's upset after the game that he couldn't see any Angels, and Ranch Wilder preys on this kid, swoops in, and
Those tears, the JP tears, his face was just soaked. I was feeling for
man.
the kid, man.
great
I had
attitude from a
Andrew
little
tears.
kid.
Yeah.
And he swoops in and he kind of gets the story and he learns of Roger's abilities. And Knox then confronts Roger. Knox comforts Roger after his court date. He goes over there.
Yeah, he has a complete 180 because at first he was a rough around the edges kind of guy.
He makes dinner.
He really starts feels for these kids.
He really does. And then Ranch goes to the press and they print the story about Roger and the Angels.
Yeah.
And then basically the owner's like, "Hey, you're out, or you're
Which,
gonna."
that was pretty quick. That was a pretty ballsy move by the owner. Like, hey, you see an Angels, you're out of here. Like,
You're the California Angels.
Yeah,
There's a marketing moment that you're not jumping on. Yeah, that's what I was like. How are you not making shirts and calling every news agency?
So yeah, he gives him an ultimatum like, "Hey, you're out, or you call press conference and deny everything."
yeah.
And at the press conference, he starts to read a statement, and then he sees
Maggie
JP,
brings the boys
Maggie,
in. Yeah.
and Roger come in. And he's like, "You know what? I'm just gonna shoot from the hip here." And
Maggie makes a good point though because she's like, when a football player scores and he thanks God, what's the difference? If a baseball team sees Angels, they're all on the same team, you don't think they're crazy.
Yeah, she
And then at
makes a
that
good
point,
point.
it kind of turns the tide, and all the players stand up, and they're like,
Yep.
I won't play unless Knox is here.
Yep.
So it has this unifying moment, which turns the team around.
And then in true Mild and Lazy Guys fashion, this is where my notes end because apparently I didn't finish the movie. But we go into that final game,
Last game to
and I'm
sell out
hoping
for
you
Chicago.
guys,
So,
you guys got to.
I got a little bit, yeah.
So going back to the owner again, once again, going back to these the whole Western thing, he had everything he said was a one-liner. Oh, you can't spit in my manure and tell. It was just he was doing all this cow
Every
crap
stereotype,
stuff.
yeah.
It was okay, I guess you can just put all of this on this dude and just make him a complete.
Do they model those
stereotype.
owners after Jerry Jones?
That's what I feel like.
the
I was just thinking,
one-liners.
I feel like that's what it
and-
is.
Because like you said, how else can you explain, how do you own a sports franchise that costs a lot of money? Well, you must have been an oil
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
That's how guys make a lot of
Yep.
money.
Yeah.
So that's why you got this guy wearing a cowboy hat in Los Angeles. He's an oil man.
Yeah, that made no sense, right? Yeah.
No sense at all. It's the last game of the year. They're playing Chicago. So they said whoever wins this wins the AL West, but at the same time the pennant's on the line. But it's the last game of the season.
So they're calling the pennant the AL.
I guess the division.
The division.
Yeah,
Or
they said though last game of the year, but then they said this is for the pennant, so it was a little confusing.
Yeah.
It's
But
a little
Mel Clark,
continuity error. Just gloss over that.
yeah, I get it. As your kid, you just know this is the big game.
But yeah, that's when Al comes down and is like, "Oh yeah, by the way, we can't you can't we're not going to be here for this game because you can't have Angel help in the championship or something like that."
Yeah,
right?
so I don't know, it's confusing, but you can tell it's the big game. Mel Clark gets to start. He tells him that Mel Clark is dying. Basically, he only has 6 months to live because of liver cancer.
brutal,
Crazy.
Just
Yeah,
brutal.
dude. Basically, it's like a PSA. He's like, he smoked for a long time. Don't ever
yeah,
do that
he's-
because we're always watching.
He's
They kept pounding that message through. They're always watching.
Which I was watching I was watching this with my daughters this morning, and whenever they saw Roger's dad smoking a cigarette, the first thing my daughter goes is, "He's gonna die pretty soon." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." Yeah,
Jeez.
foreshadowing.
Good eye.
Yeah, good eye.
And Brady goes, yeah, he deserves it too. Yeah. So basically, it gets to the he keeps them in. It's the top of the ninth, 3-2 count, 2 outs, up by 1. There's no real Angels. And then I just put the Angels win on an extremely boring catch. So he has they were gonna pull him out. But Roger was like, no, let them finish, and that's when they all stand up and they start. There's no Angels here, or he's like, you got a whole team stadium full of Angels. They all get up and do their signal because Roger had that signal where he flaps his arms to signify an angel he sees. So everyone in the crowd's a sellout crowd. They're all doing it for him. He gets them. I think he was down 3-1. He has the 3-2 pitch comes on a nearly home run. I think
Foul.
right?
What was
Yeah,
that? What was
he
that
hit it
guy's
foul.
name?
Oh, this was the most research I did of the whole movie
right,
was on
let's
this
see it.
dude. So the last batter, Kit Hit or Die Kesey was his name.
Great name,
And
dude.
like, what I didn't understand is because they were in LA, right? They were in California, and the big the screen flashed Hit or Die. Like, you don't like pump up the other dude, you know?
No, we wouldn't have,
It said Hit or Die or whatever. And then so I did research. I was like, who is this guy, right? So like, he had a scar on his face. He spit, and like, it looked like he spit out 6 gallons of sweet tea. It was like, it was
It's always an exaggerated amount. Yeah.
Yeah, the giant scar on his face. He had the real cheesy cobra that said Hit or Die on his bicep.
I remember all this now.
So I looked him up. I was like, who is this guy? Dude's name is Kerry Langsford, and his Wikipedia hits says, first thing it says off the bat, claims to be a direct descendant of Sir Francis Drake, even though Sir Francis Drake had no children or direct relatives.
Why would he? Of all the people you could claim,
Right.
why the one guy who distinctly never had a kid?
It also says that in 2020, he created a Facebook page about Star Wars and The Mandalorian because he was a huge Star Wars and Mandalorian fan, but never posted anything and then deleted it in 2021.
That was on his Wikipedia page.
Yes. And then also, he had like some sons that went and played baseball in for Oakland and some other teams. But they also named his high school baseball field after him.
Oh, that's cool. Do we still play it? They still play at the Buddy Groom Stadium?
That puts him up with Buddy Groom.
Field, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Got a stadium named after him. That's doing something.
Yep.
So, anyways, back to this. It just ends on such an extremely boring catch. It's like a soft line drive to the catcher, and Tony Danza dives for it. It hits his glove, comes out, he does a crocodile catch, closes it down, and that was it. Like, the game was over.
Yeah.
It ended on such a boring note.
Didn't it end with?
And then they go back home. Yeah, they go back home, and Knox said he's gonna take Roger home. And he's like, well, we can't just leave JP here. And he's like, of course, I'm going to take JP with me. And Maggie's like, happy for him. And
which it was such it was such a weird the whole feel of it was so weird. Like, he comes in and Maggie says, "Hey, your social worker called and you've been placed." And so JP is upset, right? He's like, "Well, dude, my brother's leaving. I'm out." So JP runs into his room, and then. Knox never says anything, and he's crying. And he's like, "Sorry, I can't do this." And then Knox is like, "Oh, by the way, the guy that called your social worker was me." And then they're like, "Okay, yeah," but and it's this whole weird rocky why didn't you just tell him "Hey, I adopted you guys"? You drew it out and made it so
went
weird.
the weirdest way about it. Yeah, you should have just been like, "Hey guys, you're living with me now."
Toying with these poor little 10-year-olds' emotions
Who's
and
had
stuff.
such a rough life already.
Right?
I feel like JP needs a honorary member of this. But yeah, then it just ends with Al being again "We're always watching you," and he just kind of flies away and
does the
star,
does the home run and the stars. Yeah,
and that was pretty much it.
And that's it, huh?
Ball game.
That was a good one.
It was a pretty good
I
one.
really liked it, even though I didn't finish it.
Yeah, I really liked it. You didn't watch the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, I'm out.
All right, so
No,
who wants to get the next one?
Let's let Brady.
You got to
select
draw
our next
2.
movie.
Yeah. So this will be,
Draw 2.
Yeah,
Draw
draw
two.
2, and we'll put a poll up, and
Okay.
hopefully 4 or 5 people vote.
All right. Pick number 1. Road Trip.
I like that movie.
That's a good one.
Okay.
That is a
All
good
right.
movie.
Road Trip or Littering and
And
Road Trip or
Yeah.
I got the sticky.
you wrote it on Post-it notes, didn't you?
dude.
I got the sticky part of the
I
Post-it note.
I did
Hold
that on all of them too.
Oh, dude, it's ripping. Oh, here we go. Mystery Men.
That's a really good movie too. That's gonna be my vote.
Road Trip or Mystery Men.
Y'all remember that movie? Fake superheroes. Dude, you've never seen
Was that
Ben
the one
Stiller, Hank Azaria,
No,
and
no.
William H Macy. Oh my goodness.
I'm embarrassed to
Jeez.
say how many movies I haven't
I've
seen.
Greg Kinnear's in
I'm
it.
bad.
Fucking Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah.
What's his name? Pee Wee Herman. He's in that movie.
Paul Rubin.
I think that's it. Paul Rubin's in
Yeah.
it. Dude, that's such a good. That's my vote.
Okay, so Road Trip or Mystery Men on the next movie review. I'll slap those up on Instagram and we can get some votes, and that way you guys can watch with us and review with us. All right, so let's move on to sports. Brady, our resident baseball guy, I'm gonna let you kind of review
Baseball.
some of the Rangers stuff
Yeah.
that's going on.
Yeah,
some of the
so-
trades.
Yeah.
Did we win? Did we lose?
Man, I think with both of them, it's still kind of early to tell. I mean, I think we've been trying to move on Joey Gallo for a few years now, and it's just never his trade value's never been right, in my opinion. I think that's what everybody thinks, right? But getting the prospects we got, and I just know, like I was telling you guys earlier, I just know about the top two, Josh Smith and Zeke Duran, both middle infield guys. Both were doing really good from just kind of looking at, they were playing at Hudson Valley for the Yankees this year. They were both doing good before the trade, and then, that's always the big thing is if they trade to somewhere else and move across country, are they still going to be doing good? And so they both went to the Down East Wood Ducks. I think that's where they went in North Carolina.
Great name.
So
many cool names.
Such a cool name.
I need some minor league gear, like a hat of
Dude,
the Wood Ducks.
you trashed me when I told you what team I played for.
What team?
And it was a minor
for?
league team. I played for the Aqua Sox.
Yeah.
Okay,
you
Aqua Sox just
trashed
sounds
me.
like wet socks.
So
You
who
trashed
likes wet
me.
socks?
Dude,
I would
it's
rather be a Wood Duck.
Dude, it's a sweet logo. They had sweet colors.
Yeah. So
Well, I didn't get that. All I heard was Aqua Socks. And who likes wet socks?
I just think
that's
of
like the soggy breads
I
or
just
something.
think of like aqua, like the color, like aquamarine socks, like just teal socks. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm a man of culture, and I thought of
Oh, yeah.
Spanish.
I have couth.
Okay, sorry, but
All right.
maybe. Okay, you know what? I would love some Aqua Sox gear if you get it.
So the Down East Wood Ducks, that's the cool thing about them. So their initials are DEWD, and they call themselves the Dudes. That's
cool.
Which is pretty cool. Anyways, so they're both playing really good ball right now. And as far as the Kyle Gibson and Ian Kennedy and Hans Kraus trade, that one's still too early to tell. Spencer Howard, the guy that we got in that trade last year, he was the Phillies' #1 overall prospect in their whole system.
Nice. What position?
Pitcher. Yeah.
Nice.
He dropped down this year, and they say he lost like 2 or 3 miles an hour off his fastball. But he was pretty candid in his first interview he had. He kind of seemed like he wasn't real happy with the Phillies organization. It kind of seemed like they rushed him along a little too fast or something like that, it seemed like. So I don't know. We'll give him a couple years, and he's already he came over and immediately started pitching in the bigs. But I don't know. I'd like to give him a few more starts before you can really, dog
sure.
anybody. But
Sure.
there's a lot of people dogging the Rangers, and they're, I think, third worst record in the pros or second or something like that.
Great.
But yeah.
If I'm not going to be anywhere near the playoffs, I want the worst record.
Exactly, yeah. And so I'm looking at Frisco and looking at, like Down East. So the Down East Wood Ducks also have Ronald Acuna Jr.'s little brother, Luis Angel Acuna.
Oh, I didn't know he had a
that.
little brother.
So he's our #4 prospect right now. And so talking Cards, like 2 years ago, I think it was maybe a year ago, Ronald Acuna Jr. said, "My brother is 10 times better than I am at baseball."
Fuck
and
yeah. Glad we got him.
immediately that Luis Angel Acuna Bowman Chrome card was selling for like $5,000. I mean, it was just
Holy
insane.
shit.
Yeah. So he's our #4 prospect right now.
And where is he at?
He's at Down East in North Carolina as well. But
Is that high A or low A?
It's high A.
High A.
Yeah, high A. And
Is
then-
Hickory low A?
yeah, Hickory's low A, and then Frisco is double A.
Right.
But yeah, the Frisco team is looking solid. I mean, you got Josh Jung, you got Sam Huff, you've got Bubba Thompson was our first round draft pick from a few years ago. He's looking to be a super toolsy guy that's like a 5-tool, can hit for power and can run really fast too. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of our farm system's finally getting back to those early years, of like 2009, 2010, whenever we started trading everything away to try to win. So I don't know. It's a fun time to be a Rangers fan.
You got a new stadium and a young
Yeah.
team, so I got nothing to complain about.
I've got a kind of 2-part. One, how do we feel about our draft pick, Jack Leiter? And 2, the guy that he was talked about with in that draft, Kumar Rocker.
Yeah.
Who did he get drafted by?
Mets.
Mets.
Yeah,
So-
he filled it like 10.
Yeah.
So
Didn't sign.
there's talks, that he didn't sign.
Yeah.
He's not going to go back to Vandy. And now there's talks that we could end up, with the top 3
Yeah.
pick, and we could end up with both Rocker and Leiter
if
and backs back.
If he turns down,
He already didn't sign.
and he can't go back to school. He's a free agent
he-
essentially.
He
can
can
go
go back to school, but he's choosing not
okay,
to.
but he's
He's gonna
what's
go.
his
He's
option?
gonna go play indie ball. He'll go play independent ball somewhere
Yeah.
and just like stay
He
healthy.
wants to play with Leiter or something.
No,
Is that-
he just-
no.
but-
But he'll re-enter the draft, and we're going to have a top 3 pick.
Yeah.
Looks like.
But he
so,
fell to. Did he fall to 10 because of?
He
his,
fell to 10 because of medical. Because I think a lot of people weren't sure about his arm.
It was an elbow specifically, wasn't it?
Yeah, because he threw a ton this year.
Yeah.
And so next year's draft's going to be pretty fun. So if he gets back in it, that'll be fun. But then
Is that who we would want though?
so where I'm, and he's a middle infielder guy, and we've already got like 30 of them, but I don't care.
Right.
So Jace Jung, Josh Jung's little brother,
Really?
is a better hitter than Josh Jung is already in college, and he's
Does he
a
go to
second.
Tech?
Yeah, he's at Tech too, and he's playing second base.
Oh, that'd be
and
cool.
He's they're projecting him to be somewhere around like number 2 to 5, and so that would be right there with I don't think the Diamondbacks are doing a really good job of losing baseball right now, and so I think they'll have the first overall.
They are,
pick.
dude.
Yeah,
Somehow they're worse than
it's
we are.
brutal, and so I think we'll have the second pick. And I just think it'd be cool. Like, how awesome would it be to have
Oh, they would
Josh
love that.
Jung
That'd
and
be
the
Jace
Jung
Jung?
brothers.
You know, that's something they talked about when they were kids
Yeah.
too. Like, we're going to make
so
some
awesome.
majors.
Yeah.
I would
So,
love that. I
let me
didn't know
go-
that was a thing, but I would love that now.
Yeah.
So let me go back to the first question. How do we feel about Jack Leiter?
I mean, I'm in on him. So originally, whenever and the MLB draft is so hard to follow because there's so many high school kids. And, like, obviously, Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter were in headlines everywhere, and then there was a kid out of Dallas Jesuit, Jordan Lawler, that, just because he was from Dallas, I got to hear a bunch about him. He was awesome to watch. I mean, tall shortstop that could hit for power. So that's who I was leaning for in the draft. That's who I wanted to get.
Another middle infielder?
Yeah, another middle
Yeah.
infielder, because you can't have enough, right?
I wanted Leiter just because of that. His dad, his
Yeah.
uncle,
Yeah.
I think it was cousins or brothers all played.
But that's what they were like basically saying, like, okay, because even right up before the draft, they were like, okay, Jack Leiter's going first overall. Like, it's a done deal. So basically, do the Rangers go after Kumar Rocker? There was a shortstop out of Florida, I think, named Marcelo Mayer. They were going to try to go for him or try to go for Jordan Lawler, like one of those three guys. And then the Pittsburgh Pirates just came out of left field.
Didn't they get a catcher?
Yeah, Henry Davis, which he wasn't like on anybody's radar, I don't think. I mean, I think he was a first round prospect, but he wasn't on anybody's radar. So they drafted him,
Which opened the door for us.
And then the Rangers are like, "Oh, hell yeah!" And so
Yeah.
they went after Jack Leiter, and they had talked about, like, that's their number one guy on their board. And I mean, he's just the dude's, he throws, I mean, money. I mean, he's everything you want in a pitcher. He's not your prototypical like pitcher build. He's a smaller dude.
So was Pedro Martinez.
Yeah,
And
so
so,
it's
I love Pedro,
is Greinke and
Roy Oswalt. I mean, yeah, like
we've
all
seen
those guys.
success with those
Maddox.
guys.
I mean, he didn't throw
Yeah.
hard, but he was
Yeah.
great. And I saw too that before the season started, I believe he was the number one rated prospect
Yeah.
in the country, like
Yeah.
high school and college.
Yep.
Man, I saw when they unveiled him at the Ranger. He's a pretty man.
Yeah.
He's a very pretty man.
Very attractive. Yeah.
Very
Well, his dad
attractive
played
dude.
pro ball, so he probably got a pretty wife.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
great genes, I'm
genetics.
sure. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you want to touch on major league wise? I mean, obviously
We're going to
touched on
suck.
Gallo.
Yeah.
So we're just going to hope for what, 2024?
I mean, I think it's good that we did build the stadium, because if we
Oh,
would have
yeah.
been in the old stadium, nobody's going to go watch this baseball.
It makes sense, man.
Yeah.
It's too fucking hot.
Because I think attendance right now, we're number 2 in attendance behind Atlanta right now.
I'll say I went to a game on Father's Day,
Yeah.
and
That was
you wouldn't
cool.
catch me dead
Now.
at a game in June, July, or August in the old stadium.
Yeah.
But 72 degrees is the way you're meant to watch baseball.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Yeah.
And I was super impressed with the stadium.
Yeah, I've
I
heard
think it
nothing
got a
but
lot.
great
I think it got a
things.
lot of shade for the outside. How the outside looks. It looks like a barbecue grill. Looks
Yep.
like, we built it at a Tractor Supply. But it's really cool.
And I hope
Great
that they
stadium.
keep the old stadium and just keep using it for other things.
Well, they
because
will.
I love
Venue.
the old stadium.
They
It's
will.
an awesome ballpark.
FC Dallas is
It's where we
second.
had our senior prom.
Yeah.
Not me and Brady. We
Yeah.
didn't go together, but we were same graduating class.
Speak
I
for
want to see
yourself.
those photos. No, but
I'm probably had like shoulder pads. I probably looked ridiculous.
no, but FC Dallas, the second team, plays their home matches there.
Yeah, and the not rough. Who was our
Renegades.
Oh, Renegades would have played?
Or, yeah, Renegades.
I would
My-
love to go to a Renegades game.
My
man.
alma mater is going to play there. I think like September 11th. I think they're going to play Midwestern State there. So I'm going to go
Like a football game
yeah,
or
football
That's
game.
dope.
I'm going to go check them out.
Oh yeah, because they're good in football. They won like a
they won a
junior
national
college national championship.
D2.
Oh, it's D2.
Yeah.
It's even, hell yeah.
Yeah.
D2.
Okay, sorry, I can tell I
Put some
pinched a nerve there.
respect.
I
D2.
didn't mean it.
Put some respect, bro. No,
I mean, if you
No.
want to go to the game, I'll be there.
they won it in 2017, and then they're nationally ranked again this year. I think they're like 4 or 5
And
in
then
the
you're
country.
alma mater won a national championship.
Dude, I mean, yeah, just
Eat 'em up
same,
Cats.
same Houston Bearcats. They also had a number 5 draft pick in the MLB draft.
That's
No
insane.
shit.
Colton Cowser, yeah, he was
Wow.
an outfielder, got drafted
that's
by
probably
the
the highest.
Orioles. Oh yeah, for sure.
For sure, in like any
Yeah.
sport. That's awesome.
Yeah, so
No, but yeah, I was super impressed with the stadium. Me, my wife, and my kid got in for $24.
Yeah, when you told me that,
$8
you
tickets,
can't
man.
beat that.
And the most expensive part is I paid $20 to park, but I was literally across. I just
And
crossed
even
one.
that
Yeah.
is not bad.
Across-
because you go to a football game,
Yeah, 75.
it's
It's
nuts.
75.
Yeah,
I crossed the street and then boom.
Your
I was
whole
on the
experience
premises.
cost about half of it just to park.
Yeah, and
Right.
then
At
we got hot
AT&T.
dog. You know, we did. It was Landry's first one that he would remember. So we got
Went
did
all
the whole
out.
thing. We got the French
Yeah.
fries and the helmet. We got the hot dogs, the ice cream, and the helmet.
No, and the
Took
fact
him
that
to
it
the
was
pro shop.
Father's Day, that was like a great moment.
Yeah, he got a IKF
nice.
t-shirt jersey.
Yeah.
That's my favorite current player, too. I love Isaiah Kiner.
He's solid,
Yeah.
man. He's solid. So I love Jose Trevino. He's a
Yep.
good dude. Like he's super
good.
active on
Yeah.
social media.
Yeah.
My daughter's got like 5 signed cards from him just because, like,
cool.
he's awesome.
He's one of those guys that'll
Oh, yeah.
stay back and
Yeah, for sure.
fan interaction. I like that.
Anything else you want to touch on baseball wise?
No, man. I mean, that's about it. It's going to be
So-
definitely a fun off season.
So when do you think we could make the playoffs again?
I think
2023,
2024,
24?
25.
I mean,
24?
yeah, I'm saying somewhere around 24 because, like, you look at
And
what.
if those guys develop, I mean, holy shit, we're going to
Yeah.
have a good team.
Yeah.
So the future can
Do
be
you
bright.
have any one thing I wanted to ask you, I know he moved into a different role, but how long is the leash for John Daniels? Because we've had a pretty large sample size at this point.
Yeah.
I think he did that because he knew the leash was getting shorter.
Or do we just have ownership that is just out to lunch and
Man, I think John Daniels doesn't get the credit. I think people bash John Daniels because he doesn't sign the big guys and he doesn't go out there and get, make these crazy trades to get, like freaking Juan Soto or something, and like try to win it all. But like if you kind of go back and track John Daniels' trades that he's made over the past like 7 or 8 years, or like letting people go, like I mean, I was looking at it the other day. Alex Claudio, like we were expecting Alex Claudio to be our next like closer. Like, oh, he's going to be legit, blah blah blah. And then I think we either let him go or we traded really cheap for him, and he's bounced around like 4 other teams. Like John Daniels definitely knows more than I do about baseball, and so like you definitely do have to trust that process. And I think if you can kind of go back and look at some of his transactions that he's done over the past 5 years, you're like, all right, let's give this guy a little bit longer leash than what he's really got. And I mean, I think now the ball's in his court with all these prospects we've got. I mean, it's kind of nut up or shut up at this point. So,
and
I don't know.
obviously it's too young for Chris Young to put a grade out on him.
Yeah.
But I think from everything I read and everything I listened to, everybody was pretty excited about Chris Young coming on board
Yeah.
because he was on the radar of some other teams. He's a local dude. He played for this organization. He kind of knows this. The organization is comfortable with him. So do you expect kind of?
Yeah, I think I think the story I heard was he passed up the Mets, and I think he was getting paid more. He was going to get paid more by the Mets, but he wanted to come back to Texas because he's from here.
And if you could pick between your hometown and New York, which is
Right.
very critical.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Even
with
if
that-
it's the Mets, I mean, it's still
Yeah, it's still New
a
York
pressure
with that
cooker.
major
Yeah.
market media,
exactly,
yeah,
and we're way more laid back, so I
sure.
could get that
For sure.
I heard something funny though, where it's like poor Chris Young. He can't just go scout a player because he's 6'10".
Yeah.
He got this giant of a man trying to look all inconspicuous in the
Yeah.
stands.
yeah,
All
he's a big dude for
So
sure.
that's. I'm glad we had John because I'm not.
Yeah, we rarely touch
Yeah.
on baseball,
I
but we're
love
like,
it,
well,
man,
we'll just
yeah.
have Brady explain everything.
I subscribed. I get the Newberg report every day or
Yeah.
whatever in my email, and I kind of skim through that. But
He does a good job.
you just got you've got 4 different organizations below you. You
Yeah.
got people moving up and down all the time.
And I think that's another thing. So going back to fantasy football and fantasy baseball, so we've started. I think 2 years ago we started doing a keeper league where you can keep 3 players.
That's cool.
And it really pays off to find these prospects and kind of pick them up because basically it's probably the same everywhere. But so if you pick somebody up, they count as like your last draft pick for the following year if you want to keep them.
Oh, wow.
So like if you can't keep first and second rounders, but like a third round
man, I was
draft
gonna
pick.
say.
Yeah. Like if you keep a third round draft pick, it counts as your first round draft pick. for the next year.
Oh,
So,
that
yeah.
sucks.
Yeah. So, but like, there was one guy that he drafted Fernando Tatis like in the 8th round, you know, so like then he becomes a 6th rounder. Like, yeah, sure. That's good. I'll still take him. So now if you're like picking up these guys, like, I picked up the first baseman for the Angels, Jared Walsh. He's having a career year. Like, I'll just keep him next year as my first baseman. And he was a low draft pick. So that's where I feel like I've learned a lot about the prospects, is just trying to hunt for that next Ronald Acuna Jr. or Fernando Tatis, you know. So it's been fun.
Cool.
I've never tried fantasy baseball. That'd be fun. It'd be immersive though.
Yeah, we play it a lot like fantasy football, where you just set the lineup every Monday morning, so you don't have to change the lineup and stuff. So it's a lot of fun.
Okay. Yeah. I think Andrew's going to hit us with some basketball.
Ew.
Here we go.
Well, I don't like that,
dog.
Well, I was about to say, it's on the run sheet, but I got the run sheet in front of me.
Okay, I got. It was just it was like a list of basically the top, where they're going, what they're expected to do. Kawhi Leonard, he hasn't agreed, so we'll go straight to Chris Paul. He declined his player option, got re-signed for 4 years, $120 million.
That's crazy for a 36-year-old.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, 4 years, that's nuts. But
he's gonna be playing until he's 40, making $30 million a year.
That's nuts.
Kyle Lowry got traded to Miami and agreed to a 3-year, $90 million deal. Conley got a 3-year, $74 million deal. John Collins, power forward for Atlanta, who I really wanted. He's reportedly agreed to a 5-year, $125 million deal. DeMar DeRozan has reportedly agreed to a 3-year, $85 million deal.
Chicago, right?
Yeah. And then the next guy, Lonzo Ball, also was a sign and trade. Chicago, 4 years for $85.
And they got Alex Caruso.
Yeah. Who's the real GOAT there? Like we all know, Caruso's the real man. I think Chicago's going to be good because then they got
Kobe White.
Well, and I was going to say their big man that they traded from Orlando for, and they got Zach LaVine still.
Yeah, LaVine's still there. I thought I saw something today where they're getting investigated for tampering.
Oh yeah, for Lowry and someone else.
Yeah,
but everyone tampers. I mean, you say you have till midnight, but then at 12:01 you got all these deals coming through. It's not like they worked them out.
Yeah.
I wish I put what teams they went to because I don't know where did Norman. I think Norman Powell went to Portland. He got 5 for $90.
And then speaking of Portland, I think. Dame said he wanted to wait till after the Olympics to kind of make his decision, but
because he's a big Nico Harrison fan and he always wanted to play for Kid. Mm-hmm. So I mean, imagine getting Dame on this team. We'd have 2 top 10 players, maybe top 8. All the way down, we had Tim Hardaway Jr. He agreed with us for a 4-year, $72, and I heard he had an offer for it might have been New Orleans. For like 4 years and $88 million.
Yeah,
he turned down big money.
More money. Yeah,
but it makes sense because it's like I'm going to be a better player. I think people are going to realize that if I come here, especially if it's like a 1 or 2 year deal, Luka's going to make me better, and then I can re-sign somewhere else.
How's that compared to his old contract? Because I know that we took on his old.
He was making almost 20 a year. I thought.
Yeah.
So it's almost like it's down.
Yeah.
Because he would have been making closer to 80. But I still think he's their only guy. He's one of our only guys that can create his own shot.
Yeah.
And he's a good catch and shoot. Dang, Kemba Walker only got a 1 year, $8 million. So that would have been a great, sign for somebody just a 1 year to rehash your.
He went
image.
to New Orleans. Is that right?
I think he got traded to OKC, but then I heard he's going to get a bought out and go to New York.
Yep.
Because the Knicks kind of have like a little comeback.
Yeah.
Yep. Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah.
Right now he's an unrestricted free agent. Did you hear though how he turned down that deal for the Lakers? He turned down like an $80 million offer.
Really?
And now nobody wants him because he's like a bad teammate. He's like he hasn't got an offer yet. That's like, remember a few years ago we had Nerlens Noel,
yes.
Yep.
And he turned down like a $70, $80 million contract, and then he just sucked for us. And then he had to go sign like a 1 year, $5 million.
He's a backup at like OKC.
Yeah, he's a backup now. I mean, we wanted to pay him big, not quite superstar money, but big money, and he turned it down. So bet on himself. Andre Drummond got a 1 year minimum deal. Really would have loved to have him because that's a big man we could have used. Another big man that's still available is Lauri Markkanen, but he's a restricted free agent. And Richon Holmes, signed a 4 year, $55 million. That's somebody else that we were really
so
going
is
after.
the Gorn?
Oh, and sorry, Reggie Jackson. We got him. No, we didn't. We got Reggie Bullock for like 3 for 30. So that's pretty much it.
Is the Goran Dragic thing still kind of up in the air? Or is that going to have to be like a 3-way?
I've heard we'd have to match salaries, and it would have to be like Kleba and Dwight Powell to make it like the 25 that he makes. But I think that would be awesome because I think that relationship with Luka is like too special. I think you have to do whatever Luka wants. I hate to say it, but you have to give the keys to a franchise to a 22-year-old.
I thought I saw a thing today where Mark and Dirk and Nico and Jason Kidd are all getting on an airplane and going to Slovenia to offer him the max.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. I mean, it sucks. I don't know if y'all saw the image. So Team USA won the gold, and then it was going to be Australia versus Slovenia for the bronze. And Patty Mills just like had a career game. You know, he had like 40-something points. But there's this picture afterwards where it's like right in front of that play-by-play. You know, they kind of have that little box right there. And Luka's just sitting there like on his butt, you know, back up against the wall. And he's just so defeated. But I think it's just like an iconic picture that, you know, it's like Jordan when he would lose in the playoffs and he looks like, you know, he gave everything he had. Yeah. So they were like 17-0 before they lost those 2 games. And now they, all for nothing, dude. They don't get a medal now because of that. So he's just so defeated. But, hey, it's like, hey, we're going to fly to your country and give you $200 million.
Yeah.
But I think, like you said, Goran Dragic, his brother, played really good on the team. There's this other guy, I can't remember his name now, but another guy that was on Team Slovenia that looked great. So if I could get guys that are borderline NBA ready or NBA ready like Goran Dragic, and I could bring them to make Luka more comfortable, like, I'm down for that.
I think you're right. I think we have to do whatever Lucas says.
I mean,
he's a generational player.
He's generational, dude. He's already a top 3-5 player in the league, and he's 22.
Where do you want to go next? You want to go
I can give you a quick medal count.
Yeah, give us a medal count.
So it's over, right? Like, it ended tonight, I believe.
I think so.
So this is what I got right when we started going. We were in the lead with 113, 39 gold, 41 silver, 33 bronze. China was next with 38 gold, 32 silver, and 18 bronze for a total of 88. And then it was the Russian Olympic Committee because Russia wasn't allowed because of their doping scandal. Yeah, so
sketchy.
That's the classic Russia move.
We're the ROC.
Yeah,
we're not going to play our anthem or fly our flag.
You can't fly your flag. You can't play your anthem, but it's the Russian Olympic Committee. But they had 20 gold, 28 silver, 23 bronze for 71. Then Great Britain, 21, 22, 21 for 65. And then finally Japan, the host nation, had 27 gold, 14 silver, and 17 bronze for a total of 58. So did pretty good.
Go USA.
Pretty good.
USA.
Oh, I didn't know what you were saying.
Go USA.
I thought you were just getting sassy over there.
Fat and sassy.
Go USA. Yes, go
Some
USA.
sandwiches.
Although I was going to say, I was really hoping for a USA-Slovenia like basketball final.
And
I would have been happy. Like, obviously, I'm an American. I would like that. But I was like, if Luka won,
and
he would have been guaranteed a silver. So I just really wanted that matchup. But I watched a good bit of Olympics. Like I said, we were home that first week when it started, so we watched quite a bit.
Yeah.
Todd Frazier and the USA baseball team got beat by Japan
2-0.
Japan's good though, man. Like that's not.
Speaking of that, one of my favorite sporting events is happening. Going to start is the Little League World Series.
Does Troy Elliott listen to this podcast?
Yes.
Or no? He's
he does.
Big fan of the Little League World
I
Series.
love the Little League World
Big
Series.
Fan of it.
Troy's a super fan.
What do you say? Like, what's that kid that hits fingers?
Yeah.
You're being sarcastic?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say, Matt's like, I love it too. I'll watch it.
Oh yeah.
Why does he hate children?
Does he hate children?
No, I think it's because, and you'll have to ask him. It's because ESPN makes it seem like these kids are like freak athletes. He just threw 57 miles an hour.
But it's like 101 equivalent.
Yeah, they show the equivalency. He's like, he just threw 101 to that kid.
He's the next Araldus
Wow,
Chapman.
I can't believe Troy's a hater of Little League
Troy, I'm so disappointed in you, dude.
That's such a weird thing to get mad about.
We would always, in college, whenever we were out at St. Houston, I would turn it on. And he'd be like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm like, no, dude.
This is like the greatest moments for some of those kids.
Okay, so it's funny you said that because this next statement is going to sound super weird, but I had a dream where Troy was in it and we were playing baseball and he was super mean to me. So Troy, he was like
talking in your dream about how much he hates the Little
yeah,
World Series.
he was like, Matt, you can't hit. I was like, why? He's like, because you're no good, man. We need to win this game.
So he wasn't mean. He's probably being real. He's like a realist.
Speaking of, Kit Hitter Kesey, the hitter for the White Sox, he also was one of the only guys to play in the Little League World Series and the MLB World Series. So he did play in the MLB.
I was trying to think. There is a guy. It wasn't. I shouldn't have brought this up now.
Yeah, there's been a few guys.
Yeah, there's been a few where you're like, well, they'll show you their old highlights.
I want to say it was like Rizzo or something like that.
I was thinking of some guy from
Yeah.
that went to like Florida State in the 90s, like JD, who played for the
JD Drew and
JD
Steven
Drew. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah. Same time as was Cassell, basketball
Sam
player.
Cassell?
Sam Cassell?
He went to Florida State too.
Oh,
yeah.
sweet.
Anyways, yeah.
Dude, I can't believe Troy hates kids.
Troy's a big.
Maybe that's a show title. Troy hates kids.
Troy's gonna call in and do a 60 seconds on Little League World Series.
Where he just rants on these.
Dude, I
kids.
could take. We can take phone calls now.
Yeah, we just have to have people call us. That's kind of a big thing.
Hey,
that's a
Mom.
problem.
Hey, Mom,
My mom will call in. My mom will definitely call in. My mom would call in and talk Big Brother with this for as long as we want, dude.
Oh man! All right, so only other thing on my sports radar, Hall of Fame game. Not a lot to talk about there.
There's a fart noise. You got that fart drop? Yeah, that was the Hall of Fame game right there.
But it was live football.
It was
on
live
my
football,
television.
and you know what? It was fun seeing Parsons play the first quarter.
Yeah,
Like,
came out
and
with
by
fumble recovery.
second and third game, we're gonna get more starters out. And
Yeah, and it was good. And I didn't see, but they had a live scrimmage / practice
Yeah.
with the Rams yesterday.
Yeah,
I didn't read any reports or listen to
A lot of
anything
fights.
yet.
Was there?
Connor
yeah.
Connor Williams and Aaron Donald got into a fight.
Dude,
Ooh.
imagine
Yeah.
not backing down from Aaron Donald. Like, holy shit!
And he kind of, I mean, he handled his own. Obviously, it was just
Right,
like,
that's what I heard. He didn't
Yeah.
back down, and he
And then-
kind of held his own.
And
Wow.
then Tony Pollard got into it wasn't really a fight, but it was like Tony Pollard and a DB got like kind of like
let
hooked
me
up.
guess, Jalen
Yeah,
Ramsey.
it wasn't Ramsey. I forgot
He's
who
so
it was.
sassy.
He is
Ramsey
fat,
is so
so
sassy. He
Eating
is so
sandwiches.
sassy.
But yeah, it was like the DB held him like a little bit longer out of the play, and then Pollard. It was weird because the DB just like took off running back to the huddle, and Pollard's running after him, and like the DB never turned back around to fight him. He just kept running away from him. It was like really awkward.
Sounds like
Wow.
Ramsey.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I mean, when he said DB, I was like, he's always up in everybody's shit.
And
so
I'm pretty sure Hard Knocks starts Tuesday.
I can't wait.
want to say it was Tuesday.
Can't
'cause
wait.
I think it's the 10th.
Can't wait.
I already gave you my login.
You did. And then a little FC Dallas news. We seem to be on a little bit of a hot streak.
I saw that win.
We've taken 10 points out of a possible 12 over the last 4 games. We beat the number 2 and 3 place teams in the West.
Who's that? Austin's already?
No.
Oh.
Galaxy and Sporting Kansas City. So we beat
we
them
beat
too.
Austin last night. Though,
Yeah, we
correct?
beat Austin
Okay.
last night. And which was a weird move by the front office, but they had Dallas Stars Appreciation Night and encouraged everybody to wear green in Austin.
That's Austin's colors.
Dude, it's so on brand for FC Dallas. Like,
Yeah.
eh,
At least do it when the opposing team's not green.
dude, and they said it was to like drowned out like the green.
So just that's
Makes
the opposite
so much
effect.
sense.
It looked like full support.
It's the fucking like, dude, they are such clown shows.
and
like,
how can you own the Chiefs and FC and one be a model franchise? That's the Hunt family.
it's
man.
just it's level of give a shit. Like,
well, one team probably makes a lot more money.
well,
than
they
the other
do,
team.
and it's
so
a
they
write-off.
focus all their attention.
And their dad, they do it for their dad. Their dad, he was instrumental in soccer in the United States going all the way back to the 70s. And, this was a passion for him. And, they got it gifted to him. And they both played soccer for SMU in the 80s. But,
I didn't know that.
yeah, both
So
Clark
they
and
actually
Dan,
are like
yeah,
kind of a soccer family.
Yeah, both Clark and Dan played for
I didn't know
SMU. I believe. They both played for SMU back in the 80s. But so we're slowly turning things around, and it's kind of looking up in FCD land. But I think that takes us to what are we watching and what are we
You want to do a
listening
quick Big Brother though, because it was a big week for you with your girl.
I know, yeah. Whitney.
We'll just give a quick.
Whitney got eliminated this week. That was my crush on the show.
My crush beat out his crush.
I've got to find a new crush.
Not Anna, dog, or not Travis.
No, I'm thinking about Sarah Beth.
You guys really just got into left field with this, with talking about soccer and about Big Brother. Like,
Yeah, it's two things that we would never
Yeah,
thought were on
On
this.
the analytics for this episode, like right at this mark, it's just gonna.
Okay, but we're winding down, guys. Just hold on.
Yeah,
I swear
yeah.
it's gonna be a quick Big Brother.
Yeah. And so I did. The only bad thing about listening to those podcasts is, when we left off,
Yeah.
they were in a head of household competition, which is an endurance comp, so they don't finish it.
Mm-hmm.
And I do know who won.
Oh, did they say it on the winner
pod.
circle?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is one thing I've been listening to. Big Brother podcast called the Winning Circle. Winner Circle.
That's very good with Derek.
Really good.
And,
Derek's the man.
dude, he is the man.
Have you finished that season now? I guess you'll
I'm
talk
close.
about it here in a minute.
I'm close.
right. So yeah, we'll just say it was an endurance comp this season.
do you know-
HOH.
do you have any guesses?
I don't.
Do you want
Oh,
to
any
throw out a
guesses?
guess?
I guessed Alyssa, because it's usually like the scrawny girl that can hold on the best.
Do you want to know, or do you want to save it for them?
Save it?
Okay.
I'm gonna watch
All right,
tonight.
I
As
got
soon
you.
as you guys leave, I'm watching Big Brother.
Okay. All right. But yeah, so I've just been binging Big Brother. He got
Yeah.
me on season 16, and it's one of the best seasons ever.
because it just started, right?
Season 23
Season-
just started.
season
It's always
23.
summer.
Oh, so
It's
you're
a summer.
watching like
He's
Dude.
addicted, dude. He bought Paramount Plus.
Dude,
how many seasons have you watched now?
I've watched 12,
And then you went back.
2, 3, and maybe 10.
And 10, so you're on your 5th,
I'm on my
and you have a
5th.
live season.
And I have a live season.
Dude, he's addicted to Big Brother.
Dude, I'm
now.
so addicted.
And y'all thought I was a fucking idiot when I was like, let me get 60 seconds in.
No.
And now this guy's texting me at midnight telling me, like, I can't believe Frankie just did this. Yeah, Zach. Yeah, Fruit Loop
You
Dingus.
Fruit Loop Dingus.
Which is the greatest line, dude. I can't wait to call somebody Fruit Loop
So
Dingus.
on season 16, Ariana Grande's brother is on the season.
Nice.
And he, how do I
Did you get that reaction, though, when he told everyone? It was just like crickets.
So, and this took place in 2014 before she like blew up.
Yeah.
So she had a couple songs on like the top like charts or whatever, and she had just like got picked to host the VMAs. But like he was like, "This is my secret. I can't tell anybody who I am and who my sister is." And so the season's playing out, and like he gets to a point where he's told a bunch of lies, and everybody hates him, and his back's against the wall. And he's like, "Oh, I got to pull my ace card."
he thought that was his ace
I
card.
got to tell everybody who my sister is. So like he told the guys and the girls separately, and like he told the guys, and they were like, "Oh, okay."
They didn't have no
Cool.
idea. He's like, I have
And
a
like,
huge secret.
the
to tell you
producers
guys.
put in like the cricket noise. And they're like, okay, cool.
Dude, the producers are so
Dude, they're
petty
the MVPs,
trolls.
dude.
I
They're the
love when they do
MVPs.
that.
And then the girls, he told the girls, and they like flipped out.
Yeah, the
of course.
girls
Like,
kind of knew
the
it.
Girls
and in
flipped
hindsight,
out.
that is a big deal. Like, she's a huge pop star. But at the time, the guys were like, okay, my sister's named Alicia. You know, like,
Yeah,
are we going to go around
Yeah.
and talk about
But
this?
no, going back to season 23, I just now with the teams going away and everybody going individual,
Yeah, it's going to start being individual comps.
It's going to start kind of showing what alliances are strong. You know,
I think the
who's best for
cookout
who's-
is, and I like that, and the Royal Flush. Those are two really good alliances.
Yeah, but they're intertwined. So
Well, the
you
couple
got-
guys like Xavier and Kylan, they're in the best spot then
yeah,
because they're in the two most powerful alliances.
I think Xavier, Derek X, and probably Hannah are in really good spots to win.
and Claire.
Yeah, and Claire too. But yeah, so that's what I've been watching. Brady, what have you been watching and listening to?
Well, watching, they just came out with the newest season of I Think You Should Leave.
Dude,
Pretty
it's so
much the
good.
stupidest but funniest TV show ever on Netflix.
It is really good.
Yeah, Jarrett Miller got me hooked on it, but yeah, it's basically Saturday Night Live skits that they couldn't show on Saturday Night Live. Tim Robinson does it, and it's just season 1's really funny. Season 2, I think, is funnier, but it also has some like less funny moments in with it. But yeah, I Think You Should Leave is awesome. If you get it, you got to watch it.
Yeah,
and you're
so good.
outside of your Big Brother time, you got to watch a little bit of it.
We'll
yeah.
find a
Yeah.
tiny morsel of time
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
It is
I'll
really
try
good.
to squeeze
Because
it
when he
in.
told me about it, and I watched a couple, and I laughed the whole way.
Oh, yeah,
and they're
it's
only
funny.
like you said, 15 minutes, and there's like 3 or 4 skits, you know,
Yeah.
per episode, so it's really quick.
The whole episode's like 15 minutes,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah,
So you could
yeah.
binge like 4 episodes in an hour, and
Yeah.
you still
Yeah.
want more.
And,
Yeah.
and you're gonna be because you can't watch that much because you're gonna be crying laughing the whole time. You know?
I didn't make it through the opening scene with
Yeah.
my wife where she
It's
was like,
funny.
"Turn it off."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably best to
Yeah,
watch.
my
like,
wife
by
my wife
yourself.
hates it too. So yeah.
So you got any podcasts you want to drop on us you listen to? Or
So I don't know about you guys. I'm a big murder mystery guy. I mean, I like
We love true
yeah,
crime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Okay, yeah. So The Good Assassins.
Yep.
Oh yeah, we
I
already
don't know if
listened
you
to
watched that one
Yep.
or listen to that one.
Yep.
Okay, and then super nerdy, but I also I listen to quite a few barbecue podcasts.
Nice.
So there's a few guys that are just kind of, and not so much of like the actual smoking barbecue or this or that, but it's like I like seeing where people come from and like seeing like kind of their upbringing and what got them into barbecue and stuff like that. So there's one called Tales from the Pits that's pretty good.
That's a great
That's a
name.
great
Yeah,
name.
great name.
And then one of the better ones, which is wild to me, is called Kevin's Barbecue Joints. But Kevin, the dude, lives in California and covers Texas barbecue, and so like all of his interviews are via like Zoom and Skype and stuff.
he should move.
Yeah, and that's yeah. Like,
That would make it a lot easier for him, actually.
Hey,
yeah.
Kevin.
He would make a bigger
Yeah.
house, better commute. Yeah.
but he's got he does a really good job of interviewing and asking questions and stuff. But yeah, those are a couple that have been pretty good. And then I'm trying to think of what. Man, I haven't been traveling a lot lately, so basically, anytime I get in the car now, I listen to the Mild and Lazy Guys podcast. So
I heard of those assholes.
Yeah. It's just turned into a giant Big Brother rant, so I might be out.
I really feel like we're gonna go too deep on Big Brother. We have to really pull it back.
We might just have to start like a
because me and Matt could talk Big Brother for like hours, and it's like we really. That's why when I first did this, it's like give me 60 seconds. That's all I need.
Little League World Series, Big Brother. I'm out.
That's what Troy just final straw.
I can't believe Troy hates kids.
I know that's so weird.
That's probably going to be the show title. Troy hates kids.
Troy's gonna open it like what the fuck, and it's gonna take like the 2-hour mark before this comes up. So the whole time he's gonna be like waiting for that moment.
What about you, Andrew? What have you been watching?
Well, I like new listening first.
Okay.
A bit of a wild card myself. Yeah. It's because of how I wrote it. It's called The Dropout. It's the story of Elizabeth Holmes. She was the founder of Theranos. If you remember that.
Yep.
She was the youngest self-made billionaire, and then she lost it all in a blink of an eye. So she was the lady that said we could take a tiny droplet of blood and run it through our systems and do 50 tests. And they were like, well, that's impossible. But she got so much funding. She got so many big investors.
Swindle do an episode on her?
Yeah. And then, so she Swindled, which is probably my favorite podcast. Yeah. They're taking a break now. I don't know if you heard that new bonus episode. You mentioned they're taking a break.
Yep.
But this is like an 8-part, and they were only 30 or 40 minutes each, so I knocked it out in a day. But, it says how she was obsessed with Steve Jobs. So she kind of even did her dress around him. She would wear these big black turtlenecks like he did. She got a lot of people to come from Apple to her company, and then she was just really weird when these mood swings.
She's got a weird voice.
They said and that was a
Steve Jobs thing.
Yeah, that was a thing that she did on purpose. She purposely made her voice deeper. They said at parties she'd get a little drunk and would drop an act, and it would just be weird. But I mean, she lost it all in a blink of an eye because it was all a big Ponzi scheme. Basically, it was a big swindle. So at one point she was estimated to be worth $10 billion, and now she's awaiting. She could go up to jail for 20 years or something because they were doing these tests, and they were like, "You're doing these tests on humans, these are big things that you would tell oh, you might have early diabetes or something." Then they would take all these medicine. They'd be like, "Oh, turns out these tests were just false." They never found the technology to do it. It was all a big lie. The second one's called Murder in Illinois. It's by the same people who made A Murder in Oregon. It's a 2007 case of Chris Vaughn, who it was really pretty sad, the first episode, because allegedly he murdered his wife and 3 kids on their way to I don't know, what was it called, a water park theme. He was shot in the hand and in the leg. All 3 kids were killed. I'm not going to go into detail. And then the wife was found with a gunshot under her chin, and then the gun was found in the floorboards there. But they ended up grilling him for 12, 14 hours. He had no memory of this. But they ended up arresting him. And then, but now the whole podcast is, well, they think he's innocent, it's just really interesting because it's he said, she said, his family's all against, all on his side, but then the wife's family, they believe that he did it, and that, so it's just interesting. It's 5 episodes in right now, and it's just still ongoing. So, they wouldn't have made a podcast if there was a little doubt there. So I'm just interested to see how it goes. And then watching, this is on HBO Max. It was a Ringer documentary, so that's Bill Simmons. It was called Woodstock 99, and it was about the Woodstock for 99, just how, I don't know if you remember that, but that shit was just crazy, man. They ended up getting Korn, Limp Bizkit, Rage Against the Machine, and by the end of it they literally burned that place down. It was the opposite of what Woodstock 69 was, peace, love, and music. Yeah. I mean, it was just so much male aggression. It was that white male aggression of a 20-year-old. It was, man, and they were just mad about something, and they had to take it out. There was all these accusations of rape and sexual assault, and it was just, and everything was I don't know, not corporatized, but it was all made for a profit, They said water there was $5, even though it was 100 degrees out. No one could afford water, and just how it all started, and then how it ended, because it ended with everything on fire and everyone having to get out of there, So it's just interesting to see how it escalated, with the music and how.
Like a scene out of The Simpsons or something.
Dude, it was really good. So it was only I don't know, 2 hours, and I like anything Bill Simmons does. Big Brother 10, because even though last year was a terrible year of All-Stars and this one's better, it is dog shit compared to Season 10. Season 10 had everything, man. It has so much drama. It's got one of the greatest players of all time, Dan the man.
He played such a good game.
He's probably my second favorite player of all time. And then last night, again on HBO Max, I watched the Suicide Squad.
Oh, the newest one?
Extremely good.
Really?
Yeah. I watched the first one first just because the girls went to sleep early, and I liked the first one, but I love the second one,
Really?
man. It is so much better. It's rated R, and you could tell like they wanted that rated R. So
Yeah.
it's got language, it's got more violence on us, obviously, but the story's so much better, and the cast is different. So they don't bring everyone back from the first one, but they bring back like the most important people. And if you like the first one, you're gonna love the second one. If you didn't like the first one, you're still gonna love the second one. I thought it was great. And that's it.
That's it. All right, so I guess we're gonna wrap this up, Brady. Man, I appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
I hope
course.
it was everything that you imagined this podcast to be. But no, man, we really appreciate all your support throughout this whole thing. Appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, thanks, Brady.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. It's been awesome.
Come back again.
Sure.
All right, for Matt,
I'm Andrew.
we're out.
And I'm Brady.
Oh, he got it.